Mas maganda, I'm sure lahat. Okay, I'm sure lahat naman siguro dito leader na, tama ba? Okay, now hopefully mas maganda siguro na at least may interaction muna tayo dito. Okay, magkatawaan saglit ba? Okay, pakilala mo na ako, baka may hindi pa nakakilala sa akin kasi marami akong nakikita dito ng mga gwapo, mga magagandang mukha na bago talaga. Okay, ngayon ko lang nakikita rin. Okay, now, by the way, ako pala si Manny Blancoliko from Bohol. Okay, Bisaya. Then, mas maganda siguro no na ilan tayo dito? Tingnan ko ha. 199. Kulang ng isa, aabot tayo ng 100. Kulang 99. Okay, mas maganda siguro na mag-type kayo sa name nyo at kung taga saan para ma-shout out ko kayo. Okay lang po ba? Okay? Paki-type nga.
Okay.
Okay, Brian Pabellon from Davao. Davao. Ayan. Okay, ang bilis pala mag-type ni Brian. Okay, sino pa ba yung iba? I'm sure marami tayo dito, 99. Okay, Florisa Atasan from Malaysia. Grabe. Marami, may attendees pala tayo dito na hindi lang from local, may at yan from Bayugan. Gerardo Mendoza from Davao. Mark Anthony Zapatero from Jinsan. Mga ito, mga Sagol Bisaya. Jisa May Hinayon from Bohol. Alisa May from Anunciat, Bohol din, Bisaya. Floresipina Galerio from Sagay, Negros. Ano to? Halo to. Okay, sino pa ba yung hindi nag-type? Okay, shout out sa inyo ha. Sa mga nag-type, Ronald Oliva from Bourbon, Cebu. Bisaya din, kababayan. Claymark from Tayasan. I don't know saan itong lugar na to. Mikey Ortega from Cebu. Okay, kababayang Bisaya. Lena Fermin from Malaysia. Marami. May mga international talaga tayo na mga attendees natin ngayon. Marisa Waskin from Mandawi City. Okay, Lara. Alam ko to. Kilala ko to. Okay. Ito yung isa sa pinaka-idol ko dito. Okay. Shout out sa inyo ha. Shout out. Magandang. Hopefully, James Burden Rodriguez from Palumpon Liti. Kababayan ko to. Bisaya to. Ayan. Basta mga kababayan ko talaga, mga may itsura. Ayan. Sino? Lahat naman tayo dito. Okay, I'm sure na lahat tayo mga leader na dito, marunong na kayo mag-participate. Tama ba? Kung ano yung mga sasabihin ng speaker, at least maganda yung participation para at least maganda yung interaction bawat isa dito. Okay? Florisa from... nako. Okay? Now guys, I'm sure itong pag-usapan natin ngayon, mas maganda na nakaready na po yung notes kasi pinakamaganda talaga yung makikita natin ngayon kasi I'm sure na pagkatapos dito maraming aha moment talaga. Okay? Unique po to na Analisa from Liti. Okay, shout out sa iyo, ma'am. Okay. Okay, now I hope na hopefully nandito na yung natin ngayon, yung tawag natin dito. Guest speaker natin ngayon. Okay, so sino pa ba yung may humahabol pa? Sa mga humahabol na hindi nakaabot, paki-type po yung name mo kung taga saan ka para ma-recognize ka namin. Bakit namin marami ma-recognize kita. Okay. Ayan, si Annalyn Chavez. Ayan, okay. So may attendees para nato from Annalyn. I think saan ba to ha? Saudi. Okay. From Kuwait. Marami. Grabe, ibang level to, ibang level. Ayan. Okay. So hopefully na naka-type na po lahat sa taga saan ka at kung, di ba? Para now next, next I hope nandito na ba yung tignan ko lang saglit ha. Nandito na ba yung natin? Okay, yung coach natin. I hope na nandito na siya. Okay. Guys, hopefully na ready na po yung Agustina Kangki from Cebu. Marami pa ng mga Bisaya dito, no? Maraming mga Bisaya na kababayan ko rin. Now, hopefully ulitin ko, hopefully na ready na po yung notebook at saka yung ballpen. Okay? Ready na po ba? Paki-type nga kung ikaw ready ka na ba talaga na makipakinggan mo yung training natin. Sige, paki-type nga, I am ready para iwas antok, tama ba? Iwas stroke. Okay, participate din. Very ready na daw. I am ready. So hopefully lahat na nag-type. Paki-participate naman. I'm sure na lahat tayo dito leader na, tama po ba? Ayan, Janie, okay. I am ready. Analelo Chavez, I am ready. Gloria, ready na po. Okay, kan na, di ba? I am ready. So marami na. Guys, hindi ko na patatagalin kasi may aha moment pa tayo dito pagkatapos. So please help me welcome yung tawag natin dito, ano sa training is walang iba kundi yung founder ng team talaga natin. Okay? Now, siya po yung dahilan bakit na-create po yung under subgroup ng ibang team ng Transformer Worldwide dahil po sa tao na to. Okay, so hopefully na be with, listen talaga para at least kung ano man yung sasabihin niya sa inyo ngayon, sa atin pala, hindi sa inyo lang, sa atin ngayon, at least makakuha tayo ng lesson na para ma-apply natin sa pagni-network natin sa sa ating pagninegosyo. Okay? So hindi ko na patatagalin. Please help me welcome our coach, founder of Transformer Worldwide, Coach Ronald Drobante. Okay lang po ba bigyan natin ng maraming virtual clap? Okay lang po ba?
Ayan, okay. Palakpakan naman natin si Coach Manny Milancolico. Ayan, paki-virtual heart na nga. Ayan. Okay, guys. Before pa ako magpatuloy, nais ko lang batiin lahat na nandito ngayon ng Merry Christmas, no? Merry Christmas. Parang kakanta yata to si Manny ng kanta ni sino yan? Nakalimutan ko tuloy. Anyway, lahat ba excited na? Saglit ha, tingnan ko lang yung mga pagmumukha. Ayan. Kasi napaka-ikli lang ng training natin ngayon. Siguro 20 minutes, no? 20 minutes and 4 hours. Kaya dapat, ayan. Tumatawa si Ma'am Khalid. Anyway, guys, ulitin ko ready na ba lahat, no? If you are ready, no? Can you please thumbs up? Ayan. Kasi sa totoo lang, no, yung time na binigay ninyo ngayon, yung effort na ininvest ninyo ngayon, hindi po yan para sa akin, kundi para sa inyo po yan. Kaya lahat na nandito ngayon, I would like to congratulate you all, no, sa pag-commit ninyo ngayon. Then I hope, no, na yung mga leaders, members ninyo is nandito na. Kasi alam ko, one thing for sure guys, no, after this training, manghihinayang po kayo sa mga downlines ninyo na hindi na pa-attend ninyo ngayon. Kaya kung may chance pa na ma-inform nyo sila, okay, do it now kasi magsisimula pa lang tayo. Now, okay, siguro hindi ko na siguro patagalin, no, kasi gabi na rin. Sige. Yung training natin ngayon guys is hindi po to usual kasi yung training na mapapanood natin ngayon is actually ang nag-endorse po nito is hindi po basta-basta, no? Presidente mismo ng ating company, no? Si Doc Ed Cabantog. Sa totoo lang, kung tatanungin niyo po ako, siguro more than 10 times ko na itong napanood. Pero until now, pag once papanoorin ko to, talagang focus po ako kasi ang daming learnings. No? Kaya kung ako nga, no, every year ko itong pinapanood, how much more kayo na first time nyo pa itong makita ngayon. Kaya I hope na hindi lang po kayo physically present, ha? Dapat mentally present din. Then tama yung sabi ni Coach Manny, kung maaari, naka-ready na yung notebook ninyo, yung mga pen ninyo, kasi after this, magkakaroon po tayo ng konting sharing. Ayan. Now, okay. Alam niyo ba guys, before natin simulan yung training, no, gusto ko lang din na i-share din sa inyo na napaka-blessed nating lahat. Why? Sa totoo lang, na problema ako kasi kahapon lang, problema ako kung saan ako makakuha sa video, no? Kasi walang available lahat sa mga website. And then, buti na lang at nakita ko sa Netflix, no? Kaya what I did, talagang kumuha ako ng license sa Netflix para mapanood natin tong video na to. Kasi nga, nahirapan talaga ako na mag-download ulit. May na-download po ako, pero putol-putol. Hindi naman pwede na yung training natin putol-putol. Kaya napaka-blessed pa rin. Kasi nga, at least available ngayon sa Netflix yung papanoorin natin na training. Ayan. Now, meaning ho, ang gagawin po natin ngayon is movie marathon po tayo. Okay? Manood po tayo ng movie ngayon. 1 hour lang ito. No? 1 hour and 15 minutes yata. Pero lahat ho ng maririnig po ninyo is napaka-substance. Kaya ulitin ko, I hope na nasa lugar po kayo ngayon na walang disturbo. Okay? Kung maaari ho, naka-headset po, much better. Ayan. Ilang, 'di ba? Saglit lang naman yung 1 oras. Now, ngayon, try ko lang mag-share screen para start na po tayo kasi may meeting after meeting pa tayo after this. Okay guys, before po natin i-play yung video, paki-comment naman, no? I am ready. Ayan, para mas exciting yung yung papanood. Comment, I'm ready. Ayan. Okay. Ayan, guys, kung may nakita po kayo sa screen, paki-thumbs up ho para at least may idea po ako. Ay, saglit. Iba talaga pag once live. Okay, paki-thumbs up nga. Ayan, thank you so much. Okay guys, focus ha.
A year ago, my life had collapsed around me. I'd worked myself into exhaustion. My father died suddenly, and my relationships were in turmoil. Little did I know at the time, out of my greatest despair was to come the greatest gift. I'd been given a glimpse of a great secret. I began tracing the secret back through history. I couldn't believe all the people who knew this. They were the greatest people in history. Why doesn't anyone know this? All I wanted to do was share the secret with the world. I began searching for people alive today who know the secret. One by one, they began to emerge.
You know, this secret gives you everything you want. Happiness, health, and wealth.
You can have, do, or be anything you want.
We can have whatever it is that we choose. I don't care how big it is.
What kind of a house do you want to live in?
Do you want to be a millionaire?
What kind of a business do you want to have?
Do you want more success?
What do you really want?
I've seen many miracles take place in people's lives. Financial miracles, miracles of physical healing, mental healing, healing in relationships.
All of this happened because of knowing how to apply the secret.
This is the great secret of life.
You've probably been sitting there wondering, what is the secret? I'll tell you how I have come to understand it. We all work with one infinite power. We all guide ourselves by exactly the same laws. The natural laws of the universe are so precise that we don't even have any difficulty building spaceships. We can send people to the moon, and we can time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. I don't care if you're in India, if you're in Australia, New Zealand, Stockholm, or London, or Toronto, or Montreal, or New York. We're all working with one power, one law. It's attraction. The secret is the law of attraction. Everything that's coming into your life, you are attracting into your life. And it's attracted to you by virtue of the images you're holding in your mind. It's what you're thinking. You see, whatever is going on in your mind, you are attracting to you. Now, wise people have always known that. You can go right back to the ancient Babylonians. They've always known this. It's a small, select group of people. Why do you think that 1% of the population earns around 96% of all the money that's being earned? Do you think that's an accident? It's no accident. It's designed that way. They understand something. They understand the secret. And you are being introduced to the secret.
The simplest way for me to look at the law of attraction is if I think of myself as a magnet, and I know that a magnet will attract to it.
Very basically put, the law of attraction says that like attracts like, but we're really talking at a level of thought.
Our job as humans is to hold on to the thoughts of what we want, make it absolute clear in our minds what we want, and from that we start to invoke one of the greatest laws in the universe, and that's the law of attraction. You become what you think about most, but you also attract what you think about most.
If you see it in here, you're going to hold it here.
And that principle can be summed up in 3 simple words. Thoughts become things.
What most people don't understand is a thought has a frequency. Every thought has a frequency. We can measure a thought. And so if you're thinking that thought over and over and over again, or if you're imagining in your mind, okay, having that brand new car, having the money that you need, building that company, finding your soulmate, if you imagine what that looks like, you're emitting that frequency on a consistent basis.
Thoughts are sending out that magnetic signal that is drawing the parallel back to you.
See yourself living in abundance, and you will attract it. It always works. It works every time with every person.
Here's the problem. Most people are thinking about what they don't want, and they're wondering why it shows up over and over and over again.
The law of attraction doesn't care whether you perceive something to be good or bad, or whether you don't want it or whether you do want it. It's responding to your thoughts. So if you're sitting there looking at a mountain of debt, feeling terrible about it, that's the signal you're putting out to the universe. Wow, I feel really bad because of all this debt I've got. You're just affirming it to yourself. You feel it on every level of your being. That's what you're going to get more of.
The law of attraction is really obedient. When you think of the things that you want and you focus on it with all of your intention, the law of attraction will give you what you want every time. When you focus on the things that you don't want, I don't want to be late, I don't want to be late, you really are calling that into existence. The law of attraction doesn't hear that you don't want it, and so it's going to show up over and over and over again. The law of attraction is not biased to wants or don't wants. It manifests the things that you think you want.
The law of attraction is always working. Whether you believe it or understand it or not, it's always working.
It's working as much as you're thinking. Anytime your thoughts are flowing, the law of attraction is operational. When you're thinking about the past, present, or the future, the law of attraction is working. It's an ongoing process. You don't press pause, you don't press stop. It is forever in action, as your thoughts are.
Creation is always happening. Every time an individual has a thought or a prolonged, chronic way of thinking, they're in the creation process. Something is going to manifest out of those thoughts.
Law of attraction says, we'll give you whatever it is you say and focus on. And so if you're complaining about how bad it is, what you're creating is more of how bad it is.
Oh, look, I got that.
I had a student named Robert. Robert was a gay man, and he was taking an online course I have, part of which entails email access to me. And he outlined all of the grim realities of his life. In his job, all the people ganged up on him. And it was constantly stressful because of how nasty they were with him. When he walked down the street, he said every block he was accosted by homophobic people who wanted to abuse him in some way. He was wanting to become a stand-up comedian. And when he went out and did a stand-up comedy job, everybody heckled him about being gay. And his whole life was one of a lot of unhappiness and misery, and it all focused around this idea of being attacked because he was gay. I began to teach him that he was focusing on what he did not want. I directed him back to his email that he sent me and said, read it again. Look at all the things you do not want that you're telling me about. And I can tell you're very passionate about this. When you focus on something with a lot of passion, it makes it happen even faster. And then he really started taking this thing about focusing on what you want to heart. And he began really trying. What happened within the next 6 to 8 weeks was absolutely a miracle. He said that all the people in his office that had been harassing him either transferred to another department, quit working at the company, or started totally leaving him alone, and he began to love his job. He noticed that when he was walking down the street that nobody came up to him and harassed him anymore. They just weren't there.
I am a very, very gay man.
When he went and did his stand-up comedy routines, he started getting standing ovations and nobody was heckling him. His whole life changed because he changed from focusing on what he did not want, what he was afraid of, what he wanted to avoid, to focusing on what he did want.
So we may be very positive in our outlook and orientation, and we tend to attract positive people and positive events and circumstances. We may be very negative in our orientation, or very angry, in which case we tend to attract negative, angry people and negative, angry circumstances.
And so you end up attracting to you the predominant thoughts that you're holding in your awareness, whether those thoughts are conscious or whether they're unconscious. That's the rub.
If you look very carefully when it comes to the secret and the power of our mind, the power of our intention in our daily lives, it's all around us. All we gotta do is open our eyes and look.
You can see law of attraction everywhere. You draw everything to yourself. The people, the job, the circumstances, the health, the wealth, the debt, the joy, the car that you drive, the community that you're in, and you've drawn them all to you like a magnet. What you think about, you bring about. Your life is a physical manifestation of the thoughts that go on in your head.
I mean, I'm not talking to you from the point of view of just wishful thinking or imaginary craziness. I'm talking to you from a deeper, basic understanding. Quantum physics really begins to point to this discovery. It says that you can't have a universe without mind entering into it, that the mind is actually shaping the very thing that is being perceived.
Now, if you don't understand it, doesn't mean you should reject it. You don't understand electricity, probably. First of all, no one even knows what electricity is, and yet you enjoy the benefits of it. Do you know how it works? I don't know how it works, but I do know this, that you can cook a man's dinner with electricity, and you can also cook the man.
People oftentimes, when they begin to understand the great secret, become frightened of all of these negative thoughts that they have. Two things they need to be aware of. One, it has been proven now scientifically that an affirmative thought is hundreds of times more powerful than a negative thought. So that eliminates a degree of worry right there.
And the second thing is that thank God there's a time delay, that all of your thoughts don't come true instantly. We'd be in trouble if they did. The time delay serves you. It allows you to reassess, think about what you want, and make a new choice.
So you want to become aware of your thoughts, you want to choose your thoughts carefully, and you want to have fun with this because you are the masterpiece of your own life. You are the Michelangelo of your own life. The David that you are sculpting is you, and you do it with your thoughts.
The leaders in the past who had the secret wanted to keep the power and not share the power. So they kept people ignorant of the secret. People went to work, they did their job, they came home. They were on a treadmill with no power because the secret was kept in the few.
We live in a universe in which there are laws. Just as there's a law of gravity, if you fall off a building, it doesn't matter whether you're a good person or a bad person, you're gonna hit the ground.
Everything that's around you right now in your life, including the things you're complaining about, you've attracted. Now, I know at first blush, that's gonna be something that you hate to hear. You know, you're gonna immediately say, I didn't attract the car accident. I didn't attract this particular client. I didn't particularly attract the debt. I didn't attract whatever it happens to be that you're complaining about. And I'm here to be a little bit in your face and to say, yes, you did attract it. And this is one of the hardest concepts to get. But once you've accepted it, it's life transforming. This is part of the overall giant secret here.
And most of us attract by default. We just think that we don't have any control over it. Our thoughts are on autopilot, our feelings are on autopilot, and so everything is just brought to us by default.
Now, if this is your first time to hear this, it may feel like, oh, I have to now monitor my thoughts. This is going to be a lot of work. It will seem like that at first, but that's where the fun begins.
It's impossible to monitor every thought we have. Researchers tell us that we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. Can you imagine how exhausted you feel trying to control all of those thoughts? Fortunately, there's an easier way, and it's our feelings. Our feelings let us know what it is that we're thinking.
So your thoughts cause your feelings.
The emotions are this incredible gift that we have to let us know what we're attracting.
Think about your feelings. You have good feelings and you have bad feelings. And you know the difference between the two because one makes you feel good and the other makes you feel bad. It's the depression, it's the guilt, it's the resentment, the anger. It's those feelings. They don't make you feel empowered. Those are the bad feelings.
On another level, it's called bad frequency or bad vibes or whatever you want to call it.
The flip side to that is that you have good emotions, good feelings. And you know when they come because they make you feel good. Excitement, joy, gratitude, love. Imagine if we can feel that way every day. When you celebrate the good feelings, you'll draw to you more good feelings and things that make you feel good.
So it's really so simple. It's right there. The answer is, what am I attracting right now? Well, how do you feel? I feel good. Well, good. Keep doing that.
Our feelings are a feedback mechanism to us about whether we're on track or not, whether we're on course or off course.
If you're feeling good, then you're creating a future that's on track with what you're desiring. If you're feeling bad, you're creating a future that's off track with your desires. As you go about your day, the law of attraction is working in every second. Everything we think, everything we're feeling is creating our future. If you're worried, if you're in fear, then that's bringing more of that into your life throughout the day. Whatever you're thinking and feeling today is creating your future.
And you're getting exactly what you're feeling about, not so much what you're thinking about. That's why people, if they stub their toe out of bed, they tend to spiral. The whole day goes like that, you know? They have no clue that a simple shifting of their emotions can change their entire day and life. If you start out having a good day and you're in that particular happy feeling, as long as you don't allow something to change your mood, you're going to continue to attract, by the law of attraction, more situations, circumstances, people that sustain that happy feeling. Good days, bad days, rich get richer, poor get poorer. It's all about what these people are predominantly and continually feeling.
You can begin right now to feel healthy. You can begin to feel prosperous. You can begin to feel the love that's surrounding you, even if it's not there. And what will happen is the universe will correspond to the nature of your song. The universe will correspond to the nature of that inner feeling and manifest, because that's the way you feel.
Your thoughts and your feelings create your life. It'll always be that way, guaranteed.
So basically, what you focus on with thought and feeling is what you attract into your experience, whether or not it's something you want.
It's hard to swallow, but when we can begin to open ourselves up to that, the ramifications are awesome. It means that whatever thought has done in your life, it can be undone through a shift in your awareness.
It's really important that you feel good, because this feeling good is what goes out as a signal into the universe and starts to attract more of itself to you. So the more you can feel good, the more you will attract the things that help you feel good, and it'll keep bringing you up higher and higher.
When you're feeling down, do you know that you can change it like that? Put on a beautiful piece of music. Start singing. That'll change your emotion. Or think of something beautiful. Think of a baby. Maybe one you love. And dwell on it. Really keep that thought in your mind. Block everything out but that thought. I guarantee you'll start to feel good.
This principle applies to your family pet, for instance, which I believe are wonderful because they put you in a great emotional state. When you feel love for your pet, that's a great state of love. It's going to bring goodness into your life. What a gift that is.
Once you begin to understand and truly master your thoughts and feelings, that's when you see how you create your own reality. That's where your freedom is. That's where all your power is. That's when you see how you can become a deliberate creator of your life. And when you are a deliberate creator of your life and you use this law of attraction, you will have a life that is beyond what you can possibly imagine right now.
Since I learned the secret and started applying it to my life has truly become magical. I think the kind of life that everybody dreams of, and I live on a day-to-day basis. I live in a $4.5 million mansion. I have a wife to die for. I get to vacation in all the fabulous spots of the world. I've climbed mountains, I've explored, I've been on safari. And all of this happened and continues to happen because of knowing how to apply the secret.
Life can be absolutely phenomenal, and it should be, and it will be, when you start using the secret.
Well, a lot of people ask me what their job is in the creative process and what the job of the universe is. So let's look at that for a moment.
Let's use this metaphor. If you think about Aladdin and his lamp, you've probably heard of that one. I mean, Aladdin picks up the lamp and he dusts it off, and out pops the genie. And the genie always says one thing.
Your wish is my command.
If you trace the story back to its origins, you know, we now think that there's 3 wishes, but if you trace the story back to its origins, there's absolutely no limit whatsoever to the wishes. Think about that one. Now, let's take this metaphor and blow it out and apply it to you in your life. Remember, Aladdin is the one who always asks for what he wants. Then you've got the universe at large, which is this grand genie, and traditions, you know, have called it so many different things. Your holy guardian angel, your higher self. I mean, we could put any label on it, and you choose the one that works best for you. But every tradition has told us there's something bigger than us. And the genie always says one thing.
Your wish is my command.
There is a creative process, a 3-step process, and it's been around for 2,000 years. The first step is to ask. Make a command to the universe. Let the universe know what you want. The universe responds to your thoughts.
What do you really want? Sit down and write it out on a piece of paper. Write it in the present tense. You might begin by writing, I am so happy and grateful now that, and then explain how you want your life to be in every area.
And this is really fun. This is like having the universe as your catalog, and you flip through it and you go, well, I'd like to have this experience, and I'd like to have that product, and I'd like to have a person like that. It is you just placing your order with the universe. It's really that easy.
Step 2 is believe. Believe that it's already yours. Have what I love to call unwavering faith, believing in the unseen.
Your wish is my command.
And the universe will start to rearrange itself to make it happen for you.
Most of us have never allowed ourselves to want what we truly want because we can't see how it's going to manifest.
If you do just a little research, it is going to become evident to you that anyone that ever accomplished anything did not know how they were going to do it. They only knew they were going to do it.
You don't need to know how it's going to come about. You don't need to know how the universe will rearrange itself.
You don't know how, it'll be shown to you. You will attract the way.
Most of the time when we don't see the things that we've requested, we get frustrated, we get disappointed, and we begin to become doubtful. The doubt brings about a feeling of disappointment. Recognize that feeling and replace it with a feeling of unwavering faith. I know, like I know, like I know that it's on its way. Step 3, and the final step in the process, is to receive. Begin to feel wonderful about it. Feel the way you will feel once it arrives. Feel it now.
And in this process, it's important to feel good, to be happy, because when you're feeling good, you're putting yourself in the frequency of what it is that you're wanting.
This is a feeling universe. So if you just intellectually believe something, but you have no corresponding feeling underneath that, you don't necessarily have enough power to manifest what you want in your life. You have to feel it.
And when you turn that fantasy into a fact, you're in the position to build bigger and better fantasies. And that, my friend, is the creative process.
So the law of attraction, the study and practice of the law of attraction is just figuring out what will help you generate the feelings of having it now. Go test drive that car. Go shop for that home. Get in the house. Do whatever you have to do to generate the feelings of having it now and remember them Whatever you can do to do that will help you to literally attract it. It could be you wake up and it's just there, it's manifest. Or you might get some inspired idea of some action to take. You certainly shouldn't be going, well, I could do it this way, but man, I would hate that, because you're not on the right track if that's the case. Action will sometimes be required, but if you're really doing it in line with what the universe is trying to deliver, it's going to feel joyous, you're going to feel so alive, time will just stop, you could do it all day.
The universe likes speed. Don't delay, don't second guess, don't doubt. When the opportunity's there, when the impulse is there, when the intuitive nudge from within is there, act. That's your job, and that's all you have to do.
You will attract everything that you require. If it's money you need, you'll attract it. If it's people you need, you'll attract it. If it's a certain book you need, you'll attract it. You've got to pay attention to what you're attracted to. Because as you hold images of what you want, you're going to be attracted to things and they're going to be attracted to you. But it literally moves into physical reality with and through you. And it does that by law.
You can start with nothing. And out of nothing, and out of no way, a way will be made.
Think of this, a car driving through the night, the headlights only go 100 to 200 feet forward, and you can make it all the way from California to New York driving through the dark, because all you have to see is the next 200 feet. And that's how life tends to unfold before us. And if we just trust that the next 200 feet will unfold after that, the next 200 feet will unfold after that, your life will keep unfolding, and it will eventually get you to the destination of whatever it is you truly want, because you want it.
Well, another thing people wonder about is how long is this going to take? How long will it take to manifest the car, the relationship, the money, whatever it happens to be? Well, I don't have any rule book that says it's going to take you 30 minutes or 3 days or 30 days. I think it's more a matter of you being in alignment with the universe itself.
Size it's nothing to the universe. It is no more difficult to attract on a scientific level something that we consider huge to something that we consider infinitesimally small. The universe does everything it does with zero effort. Grass doesn't strain to grow. It's effortless. It's just this great design. It's all about what's going on up here. It's about what we put in place, saying this is big, it's going to take some time. This is small, oh, I'll give it an hour. You know, those are our rules that we define. There are no rules according to the universe. You provide the feelings of having it now, it will respond. Some people have an easier time with little things, and so we sometimes say, well, start with something small, like a cup of coffee. Make it your intention to attract a cup of coffee today.
Hold an image of talking to an old friend that you haven't seen for a long time. Somehow or another, somebody's going to start talking to you about that person. That person's going to phone you, or you'll get a letter from them.
People are amazed how that I line up car parks, and I've done this right from when I first understood the secret. I would visualize a car space exactly where I want it, and 95% of the time it would be there for me, and I just pull straight in. 5% of the time I have to wait just a minute or two, and the person would pull out and I'd pull in. So I do that all the time.
A lot of people feel stuck or in prison or confined by their current circumstances. And I'm trying to point out that whatever your circumstances right now, that is only your current reality. And current reality will begin to change as a result of watching this and beginning to use the secret.
When you want to change your circumstances, you must first change your thinking. Every time you look inside your mail expecting to see a bill, guess what? It'll be there. Each day you go out dreading the bill. You're never expecting anything great. You're thinking about debt. You're expecting debt. So debt must show up so you won't think you're crazy. And every day you confirm your thought. Is debt gonna be there? Yes, debt's there. Is debt gonna be there? Yes, debt's there. Why? Because you expected debt to be there. So it showed up because the law of attraction is always being obedient to your thoughts. Do yourself a favor. Expect a check.
Most people look at their current state of affairs and they say, this is who I am. That's not who you are. That's who you were. You see, if you look at your current state of affairs right now, let's say, for instance, that you don't have a lot of money in your bank account, or you don't have the relationship that you want, or your health and fitness isn't up to par. That's not who you are. That's the residual outcome of your past thoughts and actions. So we're constantly living in this residual, if you will, of the thoughts and the actions we've taken in the past. When you look at your current state of affairs and define yourself by that, then you doom yourself to have nothing more than the same in the future.
All that we are is the result of what we have thought.
Okay, what can you do right now to begin to turn your life around? I'll tell you 2 or 3 things. Start making a list of things to be grateful for. Start with that, because this shifts your energy. It starts to shift your thinking. Where before this exercise, you might be focusing on what you don't have, and you might be focusing on your complaints, and you might be focusing on whatever the problems are. When you do this exercise, you start to go in a different direction. You start to be grateful for all the things that you feel good about.
Gratitude is absolutely the way to bring more into your life.
Every man knows that when his wife's appreciating him for the little things he does, what does he want to do? He wants to do more. It's always about appreciation. It pulls things in. It attracts support.
I've said for many years that whatever we think about and thank about, we bring about.
Because that's that feeling that you have to have, you know. And so for me, it's been such a powerful exercise every morning to get up and say thank you. Every morning when my feet hit the floor, thank you. And then I start running through what I'm grateful for as I'm going to brush my teeth and do the things I do in the morning. And I'm not just thinking about them and doing some rote routine, but I'm putting it out there and I'm feeling the feelings of gratitude.
Because as soon as you start to feel differently about what you already have, you will start to attract more of the good things, more of the things you can be grateful for. Because you can look around and say, well, look, I don't have the car I want, I don't have the house I want, I don't have the health I want, I don't have the spouse I want. Well, back up, back up. Those are all the things you don't want. Focus on what you already have that you're grateful for. And it might be you have the eyes to watch this. It might be the clothes that you have. Yes, you might prefer something else, and you might get something else pretty soon if you start feeling grateful for what you have.
I think everybody goes through times when they say, oh man, things aren't working right, or things are going bad, and there were some things going on in my family, and I found a rock. I was just sitting here holding this rock. You might see me carrying around. I found a rock. I stuck it in my pocket, and I said, you know what? Every time I touch this rock, I'm going to think of something that I'm grateful for. And so every morning when I get up in the morning, I pick it up off the dresser, I put it in my pocket, and I go through the things that I'm grateful for. At night, what do? You empty your pocket, and there it is again. And I've had some different experiences with that. I've had some amazing experiences. I had a guy from South Africa, and he saw me drop it. He said, what is that?
Well, what's that?
I explained it to him, so he started calling it a gratitude rock.
Gratitude rock.
2 weeks later, I got an email from him, from South Africa. And he said, my son is dying from a rare disease. It's a type of hepatitis. He said, would you send me 3 gratitude rocks? Now, they're just rocks I found off the street, you know? So I said, sure. I had to make sure that the rocks were very special. And so I went out to the stream, looked, picked out the right rocks, and sent them off to him. 4 or 5 months later, I get an email from him. He said, my son's better. He's doing terrific. And he said, but you need to know something. He says, we've sold over 1,000 rocks at $10 a piece as gratitude rocks, and we've raised all this money for charity. Thank you very much. And so it's very important to be in an attitude of gratitude, as I call it.
Another thing that I would suggest that you do right now to turn your life around, and this is so huge that I can't find the words to describe just how powerful this can be for you.
I took the visualization process from the Apollo program and instituted it during the 1980s and 90s into the Olympic program. And it was called Visual Motor Rehearsal. When you visualize, then you materialize. And the interesting thing about the mind is we took Olympic athletes and then hooked them up to sophisticated biofeedback equipment. and had them run their event only in their mind. Incredibly, the same muscles fired in the same sequence when they were running the race in their mind as when they were running it on the track. How could this be? Because the mind can't distinguish whether you're really doing it or whether it's just a practice. I think if you've been there in the mind, you'll go there in the body.
When you're visualizing, when you've got that picture playing out in your mind, always and only dwell upon the end result. Here's an example. Look at the back of your hands right now. Really, look at the back of your hands. The color of your skin, the freckles, the blood vessels, the rings, the fingernails, the fake fingernails. Take in all those details right before you close your eyes. And then see those hands, your fingers, wrapping around the steering wheel of your brand new car.
This is such a holographic experience, so real in this moment, that you don't even feel like you need the car because it feels like you already have it.
It's the feeling that really creates the attraction, not just the picture or the thought. And I think for a lot of people, they think, well, if I think positive thoughts, or if I visualize having what I want, that'll be enough. But if you're doing that and still not feeling abundant or feeling, loving and joyful, then it doesn't, from my mind, really create the power of the attraction.
This is where the secret actually moves into action.
You put yourself in the feeling place of really being in that car, not, oh, I wish I could get that car, or someday I'll have that car, because that's a very definite feeling associated with that. It's not in the now, it's not, it's in the future. If you stay in that feeling, it will always be in the future.
Feel the joy, feel the happiness, no matter how silly it seems in that dark and quiet room, and you're going, woohoo, do it. A lot of people will say, come on, do I have to do that? How bad do you want change?
Now that feeling and that inner seeing will begin to be an open doorway through which the power of the universe will begin to express. What this power is, I cannot say. All I know is that it exists.
Our job is not to figure out the how. The how will show up out of the commitment and the belief in the what.
The hows are the domain of the universe. It always knows the shortest, quickest, fastest, most harmonious way between you and your dream.
If you turn it over to the universe, you will be surprised and dazzled by what is delivered to you. This is where magic and miracles happen. Well, I would say you want to do this virtually daily, but my disclaimer is this should never be a chore. What's really bottom line importance here to the whole secret is feeling good. You want to feel exhilarated by this whole process. You want to be high, happy, in tune as much as possible.
The only difference between people who live in this way, who live in the magic of life, and those who don't, is that the people who live in the magic of life have habituated ways of being. They've made a habit of using the law of attraction, and magic happens with them wherever they go. Because they remember to use it. They use it all the time, not just as a one-time event.
People hold that for a while, and they're really a champion at it. And they say, you know what, I'm fired up, I saw this program, and I'm gonna change my life. And yet, results aren't showing, and beneath the surface, it's just about ready to break through. And someone will look at the surface results and go, this stuff doesn't work. And you know what? The universe says, your wish is my command. And it goes down.
Knowing the law of attraction, I wanted to really put it to use and to see if it was, what would happen. And in 1995, I started to create something called a vision board, where I take something that I would want to achieve, or something that I want to attract, like a car or a watch or the soulmate of my dreams, and I'd put a picture of what I wanted up on this board called the vision board. And every day I would sit in my office and I would look up at this board and I would start to visualize. I would really get into the state of having already acquired it. And I was getting ready to move, so we put all the furniture, all the boxes, put into storage. And I made 3 different moves over a period of 5 years. And then I ended up in California and bought this house, renovated it for a year, and then had all the stuff brought from my former home 5 years earlier. One morning, about 7:30 in the morning, my son comes into my office, and one of the boxes that was sealed for 5 years was right at the doorstep. And my son, Keenan, was sitting on the box, banging away at the box, and I said, "Sweetheart, will you please stop? I mean, I'm doing some work here." And he says,
What's in the boxes, Daddy?
and I said, "Well, honey, those are my vision boards."
What's a vision board?
I said, "Well, it's where I put all my goals up. I cut them out and I put all my goals up as something that I want to achieve in my life." And of course, at 5.5 years old, he didn't understand it. So I said, "Sweetie, let me just show you, because that'll be the easiest way to do it." And so I cut the box open. And when I pulled up the vision boards, there was a picture on there of a home that I was visualizing 5 years earlier. And what was shocking to me was we were living in that house, not a house like it. I had bought my dream home, renovated it, and didn't even know it. But I looked at that house, I started to cry because I was just blown away.
Why are you crying?
Honey, I finally understand how the law of attraction works. I finally understand the power of visualization. I finally understand everything that I've read, everything that I've worked with my whole life, the way I've built companies. It worked for my home as well. And I bought our dream home and didn't even know it.
Decide what you want, believe you can have it, believe you deserve it, believe it's possible for you. And then close your eyes every day for several minutes and visualize having what you already want and feeling the feelings of already having it. Come out of that and focus on what you're grateful for already. And really enjoy it, okay? And then go into your day and release it to the universe and trust that the universe will figure out how to manifest it. No, The Secret was definitely a real transformation for me because I grew up in a family where my dad was very negative, thought that rich people were people that had ripped everyone off, thought that anyone who had money, must have deceived somebody. And so I grew up with a lot of beliefs about money, that if you had it, it made you bad. Only evil people have money. And, money doesn't grow on trees. That was a big one. Who do you think I am, Rockefeller? That was one of his favorite phrases. So I grew up truly believing that life was difficult, that it was hard, you had to struggle. And it was only when I met W. Clement Stone that I literally began to shift my life.
Whatever the mind of man can conceive, achieve.
When I was working with Stone, he said, I want you to set a goal that's so big that if you achieved it, it would blow your mind. And you would know it's only because of what I've taught you that you would have achieved this goal. Well, at the time, I was making about $8,000 a year. And for some reason, I wanted something that was really measurable. So I said, I want to make $100,000 in a year. Now, I had no idea how I could do that. I saw no strategy, no possibility, but I just said, I'm going to declare that, I'm going to believe it, I'm going to act as if it's true, and release it. And so I did that. And one of the things he taught me was every day to close your eyes and visualize the goal as if it's already achieved. And I had actually made a $100,000 bill that I put on the ceiling. So the first thing I'd see when I woke up, I'd look up and there it was. It would remind me that this was my intention. And then I would close my eyes and visualize having this $100,000 a year lifestyle. And interestingly enough, nothing major happened for about 30 days. I didn't have any great breakthrough ideas. No one was offering me more money. And all of a sudden, I was in the shower, it was about 4 weeks into it, and I had a $100,000 idea. It just came right into my head. I had a book I had written, and I said, if I could sell 400,000 copies of my book at $0.25 each, that'd be $100,000. Now, the book was there, but I never had this thought. And one of the secrets, I think, is that when you have inspired thought, you have to trust it, and you have to act on it. Now, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how I was going to sell 400,000 copies. We'd never done that. And then I saw the National Enquirer at the supermarket. I had seen that millions of times, and it was just background. And all of a sudden, it jumped out of me as foreground, and I thought, wow, if readers knew about my book, certainly 400,000 people would go out and buy it. And about 6 weeks later, I gave a talk at Hunter College in New York to 600 teachers, and this lady comes up at the end and she says,
"That was a great talk. I'd like to interview you. Let me give you my card."
and I said, who do you write for?
I'm a freelancer, but I sell most of my stuff to the National Enquirer.
You know, and I had this little theme from the Twilight Zone went off in my head. Na, 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 na. Like, whoa, this stuff's really working. So that article came out, and our book sales started to take off. But the point I want to make is that I was attracting into my life all these different events, including this person. And to make a long story short, I did not make $100,000 that year. We made $92,327. But do you think we were like depressed and going, this doesn't work? No, we were going, whoa, this is amazing. And so my wife said to me, wow, if it works for 100,000, you think it'd work for $1 million? And I said, I don't know, I think so, let's try it. My publisher actually wrote me a check as a royalty check for our first Chicken Soup for the Soul book. And he actually put a smiley face in his signature because it was the first $1 million check he'd ever written. And so I know from my own experience, because I wanted to test it, does this secret really work? And when we put it to the test, it absolutely worked. And now I live my life from that every single day.
Well, I can just imagine what a lot of people that are watching this are thinking. And that is, how can I attract more money into my life? How can I get more of the green stuff? How can I get more wealth and prosperity? How can I, when I love my job, deal with the credit card debt that I have? And the realization that maybe there's a ceiling on the money that can come in because it's coming to me through my job. How can I bring in more? Intended. This goes back to one of the things we've been talking about throughout the whole secret. Your job is to declare what you would like to have from the catalog of the universe. Well, if cash is one of them, say how much you would like to have. I would like to have $25,000 unexpected income within the next 30 days. Or whatever it happens to be. It should be believable for you.
Most people have a goal of getting out of debt. That'll keep you in debt forever. Whatever you're thinking about, you will attract. You'll say, but it's get out of debt. I don't care if it's get out or get in. If you're thinking debt, you're attracting debt. Set up an automatic debt repayment program and then start to focus on prosperity.
So many times people say to me, well, I'd like to double my income in the next year. But then you look at their actions and they're not doing the things that are going to make that happen. And they'll turn right around and go, well, I can't afford that. Okay, guess what? Your wish is my command.
When you focus on lack and scarcity and what you don't have, you fuss about it with your family, you discuss it with your friends, you tell your children that you don't have enough, we don't have enough for that, we can't afford that. Well, guess what? You'll never be able to afford it because you begin to attract more of what you don't have. If you want abundance, if you want prosperity, then focus on abundance. Focus on prosperity.
When I first understood the secret, I was getting bills. Every day I'd get a bunch of bills in the mail. And I thought, how do I turn this around? The law of attraction states that what you focus on, you will get. So I got a bank statement. I whited out the total and I put a new total in there. I put exactly how much I wanted to see in the bank. So I thought, what if I just visualize checks coming in the mail? So I just visualize a bunch of checks coming in the mail. Within just 1 month, things started to change. And it is amazing. Today, I just get checks in the mail. I get a few bills, but I get more checks than bills.
I grew up on you have to work hard for money, you have to work hard for money. And so I replaced that with money comes easily and frequently. Now in the beginning, it feels like a lie, right? There was a part of your brain that will say, oh, you liar, it's hard. So you have to know it's this little tennis match that will go on for a while.
When it comes to creating wealth, wealth is a mindset. It's all about how you think.
I'd say 80% of my coaching that I do one-on-one with folks is about their psychology and the way they think. And I know when people are listening, they say, oh, well, you can do it, I can't. Every person has the capability to change the way they're in a relationship and conversation with money.
I find so many people who maybe make a tremendous amount of money, but their relationships stink. That's a technical term, by the way. And that's not wealth. It really isn't. You can go after the money and you might get rich, but it doesn't guarantee you'll be wealthy. I'm not suggesting that money isn't a part of wealth. It absolutely is, but it's only a part. And then I meet a lot of people who are quote unquote spiritual, but they're sick and broke all the time. That's not wealth either. Life is meant to be abundant in all areas.
Many people in Western culture are striving for success. They want the home, they want the great business, they want all these outer things. But what we found in our research is that having these outer things does not necessarily guarantee what we really want, which is happiness. So we go for these outer things, thinking they're gonna bring us happiness, but it's backwards. You need to go for the inner joy, the inner peace, the inner vision first, and then all of the outer things appear.
The secret means for me actually that we are creators of our universe, and that every wish of what we want to create will manifest in our life. Therefore, it's very important what you wish, what your thoughts are, what your feelings are, because it will manifest. Now, one day I went into somebody's home, and he was an art director of a very famous film producer. And in every corner, he had this beautiful image of a woman, a naked woman dressed with a fabric, kind of doing this, kind of saying, oh, I don't look at you, I don't see you, you know. And I said, I think you have trouble in your romance.
Are you a clairvoyant or something?
No, but look, 7 places you have exactly that woman.
But I love that kind of painting. I painted it myself.
That's even worse, I said, because you put all your creation and your creativity in it. Now, he's this gorgeous-looking man. He has all these actresses around him because that's the work he does. He doesn't get romance. I said, what do you want?
Well, I want to date 3 women a week.
Okay, paint yourself with 3 women and hang it in every corner. Six months later, I see him in Europe. I said, how is your love life?
Great. They just call me. They all want to date me.
Because that's your wish.
Now I have like 3 dates a week. They're fighting over me.
Good on you.
But I really want to stabilize a little bit. I want marriage, and I want romance.
Well, paint it, okay? So he painted a beautiful romantic relationship. And a year later, he got married and is very happy. Because he put another wish out. But he wished it in himself for years, but it did not happen. Because his wish could not manifest because the outer level of himself, his house, was just contradicting himself all the time. So if you know this knowledge, you should start playing with it.
Inside relationships, it's important to first understand who's coming into the relationship, and not your partner, but to understand yourself.
How can you ever expect anyone else to enjoy your company if you don't enjoy your own company? And so, again, the law of attraction, or the secret, is about bringing that into your life, and you've got to get really, really clear. Here's the question I would ask you to consider. Do you treat yourself the way that you want other people to treat you?
You become the solution for you. Don't now you owe me and you need to give me more. Instead, give more to yourself. Take time off to give to yourself, in a sense, to fill yourself up to fullness, where now you can overflow in giving.
I got into many relationships expecting my partner to show me my beauty because I didn't see my own beauty. See, when I was growing up, my heroes or my she-ros were the Bionic Woman, Wonder Woman, or Charlie's Angels. And while they're wonderful, they didn't look like me. It wasn't until I fell in love with Lisa, my mocha skin, my full lips, my round hips, my curly hair. It wasn't until that moment that I fell in love with me that the rest of the world was able to fall in love with me as well.
There's something so magnificent about you. I have been studying me for 44 years. I want to kiss myself. Because you're going to get to love yourself. I'm not talking about conceit. I'm talking about a healthy respect for yourself. And as you love yourself, you'll love others.
In relationships, we're so used to complaining about other people. My coworkers are so difficult to work with. My husband makes me so mad. Children are so lazy. It's always focusing on the other person. But for relationships to really work, we need to focus on what we appreciate about the other person, not what we're complaining about. When we're complaining about those things, we're only getting more of those things. Even if you're having a really hard time in a relationship, things aren't working, you're not getting along, someone's in your face, you still can turn that relationship around. Take a piece of paper and for the next 30 days, once a day, sit down and write all the things that you appreciate about that person. Think about all the reasons that you love them. You appreciate their sense of humor. You appreciate how supportive they are. And what you'll find is that when you focus on appreciating and acknowledging their strengths, that's what you'll get more of. And the problems will fade away. We cannot control other people, no matter how hard we try. So what you'll find is if somebody's come home in a bad mood, and you're actually in a good mood, you'll find yourself in a different place from them in that moment. We create our own happiness through the law of attraction.
Oftentimes, you give others the opportunity to create your happiness. And many times, they fail to create it the way you want it. Why? Because only one person can be in charge of your joy, of your bliss, and that's you. So even as a parent, as a child, as a spouse, even the people closest to you, they do not have the control to create your happiness. Your joy lies within you.
It's important to recognize that our body is really the product of our thoughts. We're beginning to understand in medical science the degree to which the nature of thoughts and emotions actually determines the physical substance and structure and function of our bodies.
We've known in the healing arts of a placebo effect. A placebo is something that supposedly has no impact and no effect on the body, like a sugar pill or something. You tell the patient that this is just as effective. And what happens is the placebo has the same effect, if not greater effect, than sometimes the medication is supposed to be designed for that effect. So they found out that the human mind is the biggest factor in the healing arts, more so than sometimes the medication. If somebody is in a situation where they're sick and they have an alternative to try to explore what is in their mind creating it versus using medicine, if it's an acute situation that could bring death to them, then obviously the medicine is a wise thing to do while they explore what the mind is about. So you don't want to negate medicine. Every form of healing has a place.
The universe is a masterpiece of abundance, good health, and well-being. When you open yourself up to feel the abundance of the universe, you'll experience the wonder, the joy, the bliss. You'll experience all the great things that the universe has for you. Good health, good wealth, good nature. When you shut yourself off with negative thoughts, you'll feel the discomfort, you'll feel the aches, you'll feel the pain. You'll feel as if every day is painful to get through.
You know people who have had terminal disease. Stop and think of the word dis-ease. Hyphenate the word. That's a body that's not at ease.
We've got 1,000 different diagnoses and disease out there. They're just the weak link. They're all the result of one thing, stress. And you put enough stress on the chain, you put enough stress on the system, and one of the links breaks.
Our physiology creates disease to give us feedback, to let us know we have an imbalanced perspective and we're not loving and we're not grateful. So the body's signs and symptoms are not something terrible.
The question that's frequently asked is when a person has manifested a disease in their body temple or some kind of discomfort in their life, through the power of right thinking, can it be turned around? And the answer is absolutely yes.
On November 23rd, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I truly believed in my heart, with my strong faith, that I was already healed. During the day, all day long, I would just say, thank you for my healing. On and on and on I went, thank you for my healing. I believed in my heart I was healed. I saw myself as if cancer was never in my body. One of the things I did to heal myself was to watch very funny movies. That's all we would do is just laugh, laugh, laugh. We couldn't afford to put any stress in my life because we knew stress was one of the worst things you can do while you're trying to heal yourself. From the time I was diagnosed, which was November 23rd, to the time I was healed totally was approximately 3 months. And that's without radiation and chemotherapy.
Well, we come with a basic program. It's called self-healing. You get a wound, it grows back together. You get a bacterial infection, the immune system comes and takes care of those bacteria and heals it up. The immune system is made to heal itself.
Dis-ease cannot live in a body that's in a healthy emotional state. Your body is casting off millions of cells every second, and it's creating millions of new cells.
In fact, literally, parts of our body are replaced every day. Other parts take a few months, other parts a couple of years. But within a few years, we have a brand new physical body.
If you have a disease and you're focusing on it and you're talking to people about it, you're going to create more disease cells. See yourself living in a perfectly healthy body. Let the doctor look after the disease.
You have two people, both stricken with something. But one chooses to focus on joy. They choose to live in possibility. They choose to live in hopefulness. They focus on all the reasons why they should be joyful and grateful. Then you have the second person. Same diagnosis, but they choose to focus on the dis-ease. They focus on the pain. They focus on the woe is me.
When a person is completely focused on what's wrong and their symptoms, they will perpetuate it. The healing will not occur until they shift their attention from being sick to being well, because that's the law of attraction.
Happier thoughts lead to essentially a happier biochemistry, a happier, healthier body. Negative thoughts, stress, have been shown to seriously degrade the body and the functioning of the brain, because it's our thoughts and emotions that are continuously reassembling, reorganizing, recreating our body.
Remove physiological stress from the body, and the body does what it was designed to do. It heals itself.
I've seen kidneys regenerated. I've seen cancer dissolved. I've seen eyesight improve and come back.
I always say that incurable means curable from within.
You can change your life and you can heal yourself.
Well, my story begins on March 10, 1981. It really changed my whole life. It was a day I'll never forget. I crashed an airplane. I ended up in the hospital completely paralyzed. My spinal cord was crushed. I broke the first and second cervical vertebrae. My swallowing reflex was destroyed. I couldn't eat or drink. My diaphragm was destroyed. I couldn't breathe. All I could do was blink my eyes. The doctors, of course, said all my life I'd be a vegetable. All I'd do is blink my eyes the rest of my life. That's the picture they saw of me, but it didn't matter what they thought. The main thing was what I thought. I pictured myself being a normal person again, walking out of that hospital. The only thing I had to work with in the hospital was my mind. As long as you have your mind, you can put things back together again. I was hooked to a respirator, and they said I'd never breathe on my own again because my diaphragm was destroyed. But this little voice kept saying to me, breathe deep, breathe deep. finally I was weaned from it, they were at a loss for an explanation. See, I could not afford to allow anything to come in my mind that would distract me from my goal and from my vision. Well, I set a goal to walk out of the hospital on Christmas. That was my goal. Months later, I walked out of the hospital on my own 2 feet. They said it couldn't be done. That's a day I will never forget. For people that are sitting out there right now watching this program that are hurting, if I wanted to sum up my life and sum up for people what they can do in life, I would sum it up this way in 6 words. Man becomes what he thinks about.
People have a tendency to look at the things that they want and say, yes, I like that, I want that. However, they look at the things that they don't want and they give just as much energy, if not more energy, with the idea that they can stamp it out, they can eliminate it, obliterate it. In our society, we've become content with fighting against cancer, fighting against poverty, fighting against drugs, fighting against terrorism, fighting against violence. We tend to fight everything we don't want.
Anything we focus on, we do create. So if we're really angry, for instance, at a war that's going on, or strife, or suffering, we're adding our energy to it. We're pushing ourselves, and all that only creates resistance.
The reason that what you resist persists is because if you're resisting something, you're saying, no, I don't want this thing because it makes me feel this way, the way I'm feeling right now. So you're just putting out this really strong emotion of, wow, I really don't like this feeling, and it's there, and it just comes racing towards you.
You know, the anti-war movement creates more war. The anti-drug movement has actually created more drugs because we're focusing on what we don't want, drugs.
How much sense does it make for us to give the problem all of the energy, as opposed to focusing on trust, love, living in abundance, education, peace?
Mother Teresa was brilliant. She said, I will never attend an anti-war rally. If you have a peace rally, invite me. You know, she knew. She understood the secret. I mean, look what she manifested in the world.
So if you're anti-war, be pro-peace. If you're anti-hunger, be pro people having more than enough to eat. If you're anti a particular politician, be pro his opponent. Often elections are tipped in the favor of the person that people are really against because he's getting all the energy and all the focus.
You want to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. It's okay to notice what you don't want because that gives you contrast to say, well, this is what I do want. But the fact is that the more you talk about what you don't want or talk about how bad it is, read about all of that all the time, and then say, oh, how terrible it is, well, you're creating more of that.
You know, so many times people say to me, well, James, I have to be informed. Maybe you have to be informed, but you don't have to be inundated.
I always say when the voice and the vision on the inside become more profound and more clear and loud than the opinions on the outside, you've mastered your life.
Learn to become still and to take your attention away from what you don't want and all the emotional charge around it and place the attention on what you wish to experience. Energy flows where attention goes.
It's not your job to change the world or the people around you. It's your job to go with the flow inside of the universe and to celebrate it inside the world that exists.
One of the questions I get almost all the time, and it's probably on somebody's mind right now if it's not on yours, and that's the idea that, well, if everybody uses the secret and they all treat the universe like a catalog, aren't we going to run out of stuff? Won't everybody just make a run for it and bust the bank?
What's beautiful about the teaching of the Great Secret is that there's more than enough to go around for everyone. There is a lie that acts like a virus within the mind of humanity. And that lie is there's not enough good to go around. There's lack, and there's limitation, and there's just not enough. That lie has people living in fear, greed, stinginess, and those thoughts of fear, greed, stinginess, and lack become their experience. So the world has taken a nightmare pill. Now the truth is, there's more than enough good to go around. There's more than enough creative ideas. There's more than enough power. There's more than enough love. There's more than enough joy. All of this begins to come through a mind that is aware of its own infinite nature.
Every great teacher who's ever walked the planet has told us that life was meant to be abundant.
And so, just when we think that resources are dwindling, we find new resources to achieve the same things.
And so, even though we say we have lack, it's because we don't open up our vision and see all what's around us.
You know, when everybody starts to live from their heart and go for what they want, they don't go for the same things. That's the beauty of this. We don't all want BMWs. We don't all want the same person. We don't all want the same experiences. We don't all want the same clothing. We don't all want fill in the blank.
There's enough for everyone. If you believe it, if you can see it, if you act from it, it will show up for you. That's the truth.
Everything that you want, all the bliss, all the joy, all the love, all of the abundance, all of the prosperity, it's there, ready and waiting for you to grab a hold of it. Now you gotta get hungry for it. You have to want it. You gotta be intentional. And when you become intentional and on fire for what you want, the universe will deliver you every single thing that you've been wanting. Recognize the beautiful and wonderful things around you and bless and praise them. And on the other side, the things that aren't currently working the way you want them to work, don't spend your energy faulting or complaining. Embrace everything that you want so you can get more of it.
Most of the leaders in the past missed the great part of the secret, which is empowering and sharing with others. This is the best time to have ever been alive in history. It's the first time we've ever had the power to gain knowledge at our fingertips.
When we look around us, even at our own bodies, what we see is the tip of the iceberg.
Think of this for a moment. Take your hand and look at it. Now, your hand looks solid, but it's really not. If you put it under a proper microscope, you'd see a mass of energy vibrating.
Everything is made up of the exact same thing, whether it's your hand, whether it's the ocean, or whether it's a star.
Everything is energy. And let me help you understand that just a little bit. There's the universe, of course, and our galaxy, and our planet, and then individuals, and then inside of this body are organ systems, and then there's cells, and then there's molecules, and then there's atoms, and then there is energy. So there are a lot of levels to talk about something on, but everything in the universe is energy.
I don't care what city you're living in, you've got enough power in your body, potential power, to illuminate the whole city for nearly a week.
Most people define themselves by this finite body, but you're not a finite body. I mean, even under a microscope, you're an energy field. Well, what we know about energy is this. You go to a quantum physicist and you say, what creates the world? And he or she will say, energy. Well, describe energy. Okay, it can never be created or destroyed. It's always was, always has been. Everything that ever existed always exists. It's moving into form, through form, and out of form. Okay, great. You go to a theologian and you ask the question, what created the universe? And he or she will say, God. Okay, describe God. Always was and always has been, never can be created or destroyed, all that ever was, always will be, always moving into form, through form, and out of form. You see, it's the same description, just different terminology. And so if you think you're this meat suit running around, Think again. You're a spiritual being. You're an energy field operating in a larger energy field.
We're all connected. We just don't see it. There isn't an out there and an in here. Everything in the universe is connected. It's just one energy field.
We often get distracted with this thing called our body and our physical being. That just holds your spirit. And your spirit is so big, it fills a room. You are eternal life. You're source energy. You are God manifested in human form, made to perfection.
Scripturally, we could say that we are the image and the likeness of God. We could say we are another way that the universe is becoming conscious of itself. We could say that we are the infinite field of unfolding possibility. All of that would be true.
Every great tradition has told you that you were created in the image and the likeness of the creative source. That means that you have God potential and power to create your world, and you are. You are. And maybe you've created things to this point that are wonderful and worthy of you, and maybe you haven't. The question I'd ask you to consider is, do the results you have in your life, are they what you really want? And are they worthy of you? If they're not worthy of you, then when would now be the right time to change those? Because you have the power to do that.
You know, a lot of people feel like they're victims in life, and they'll often point to past events, perhaps growing up with an abusive parent or in a dysfunctional family. And I would add as a parenthesis here that most psychologists believe that about 85% of families are dysfunctional. So it's like all of a sudden you're not so unique. My parents were alcoholics, my dad abused me, my mother divorced him when I was 6.
From the age of 13 to 18, I was involved in street gangs.
I had a severe motorcycle accident.
I was homeless at one point in Dallas. I lived in poverty for 15 years in Houston.
When I was a child, I had learning difficulties, and I was considered learning disabled, and I was told I would never read, write, or communicate, never amount to anything, not go very far in life.
I mean, that's almost everybody's story in some form or not. So that's just called so what. The real what is, what are you going to do now? What do you choose now? Because you can either keep focusing on that or you can focus on what you want. And when people start focusing on what they want, what they don't want falls away. And that part expands and the other part disappears.
You are the designer of your destiny. You are the author. You write the story. The pen is in your hand, and the outcome is whatever you choose.
The beautiful thing about the law of attraction is that you can begin where you are, and you can begin to think, real thinking, and you can begin to generate within yourself a feeling tone of harmony and happiness. The law will begin to respond to that.
So now you start to have different beliefs, like there is more than enough in the universe. Or you have the belief that everything goes right for me. Or you have the belief that I'm not getting older, I'm getting younger. We can create it the way we want it by using the law of attraction.
And you can break yourself free from your hereditary patterns, cultural codes, social beliefs, and prove once and for all that the power within you is greater than the power that's in the world.
Some of you may be thinking, well, that's very nice, but I can't do that, or she won't let me do that, or he'll never let me do that, or I haven't got enough money to do that, or I'm not strong enough to do that, or I'm not rich enough to do that, I'm not. Every single I'm not is a creation. With you together, you are right tight.
Are there any limits to this? Absolutely not. We are unlimited beings. We have no ceiling. The capabilities and the talents and the gifts and the power that is within every single individual on this planet is unlimited.
There is no blackboard in the sky on which God has written your purpose, your mission in life. There's no blackboard in the sky that says, Neil Donald Walsh. handsome guy who lived in the first part of the 21st century who, colon, then there's a blank, you know, and all I have to do to really understand what I'm doing here, why I'm here, is to find that blackboard and find out what God really has in mind for me. But the blackboard doesn't exist. So your purpose is what you say it is. Your mission is the mission you give yourself. Your life will be what you create it as, and no one will stand in judgment of it now or ever.
It took a lot of years for me to get this, because I grew up very much with this idea that, you know, there was something I was supposed to do, and if I wasn't doing it, I was like, God wouldn't be happy with me, you know? When I really got that my primary aim was to feel and experience joy, then I began to do only those things which brought me joy. We have a saying, you know, if it ain't fun, don't do it, you know?
Joy, love, freedom, happiness, laughter. That's what it is. And if you've just experienced joy sitting there and meditating for an hour, by golly, do that. If you experience joy eating a salami sandwich, then do that.
When I pet my cat, I'm in a state of joy. When I walk in nature, I'm in a state of joy. So I want to constantly put myself in that state. And when I do that, then all I have to do is have the intention of what I want, and what I want manifest.
So inner happiness actually is the fuel of success.
Anything that makes you feel good is always going to be drawing in more. You are listening to this right now. It's you that drew this into your life. It's your choice whether you want to take it and utilize it. If it feels good, if it doesn't feel good, then you know, let it go. Find something that feels good, that resonates with your heart.
When you follow your bliss, you live in a constant space of joy. You open yourself up to the abundance of the universe. You're excited to share your life with those you love. And your excitement, your passion, your bliss, it becomes contagious.
And that's what I'm doing almost all the time, is I'm following my excitement, I'm following my passion, I'm following my enthusiasm, and I'm doing it throughout Joe's day.
Enjoy life with us, because life is phenomenal. It's a magnificent trip.
You will live in a different reality, a different life, and people will look at you and say, what do you do different than me? Well, the only thing that is different is that you work with the secret.
And then you can do and have and be things that people would say that's impossible for you to do and have and be.
We're really now moving into a new era. It's the era where the last frontier is not space, as Star Trek would say, but it's going to be mind.
I see a future of unbounded potential, unbounded possibilities. Remember, we're using at most 5% of the potential of the human mind. 100% human potential is the result of proper education. So imagine a world where people were using their full mental and emotional potential. We could go anywhere. We could do anything, achieve anything.
See yourself with the good that you desire. Every religious book tells us that. Every great book on philosophy, every great leader, all the avatars who have ever lived, go back and study the wise ones. Many of them have been presented to you in this program. You know what? They all understood one thing. They understood the secret. Now you understand it. And the more you use it, the more you'll understand it.
You've come to this juncture in your life merely because something in you kept saying, you deserve to be happy. You are born to add something, to add value to this world, to simply be the best that you can be. Every single thing you've been through, every single moment that you've come through, were to all prepare you for this moment right now. Now you get that you are the creator of your destiny. Imagine what you can do from this day forward with what you now know. What will you do with the moment? How will you seize the moment? No one else can dance your dance. No one else can sing your song. No one else can write your story. Who you are, what you do, begins right now.
I believe that you're great, that there's something magnificent about you. Regardless of what has happened to you in your life, regardless of how young or how old you think you might be, the moment you begin to think properly, there's something that is within you, there's power within you that's greater than the world, it will begin to emerge. It will take over your life. It will feed you. It will clothe you. It will guide you, protect you, direct you, sustain your very existence if you let it. Now that is what I know for sure.
Alright. Humanag yun. Hindi natapos din. Okay, so I'm sure na maraming aha moment ngayon, tama ba? Okay, paki-thumbs up nga po. Paki-thumbs up nga po. Okay, paki-thumbs up kung marami bang aha moment sa nakita ngayon na training. Okay, at least makita ko yung mga kamay na thumbs up, okay? Now, tapos siguro no mas maganda na naka-open na cam yung mga tao dito kasi siyempre mag-share ka tapos hindi ka naka-open cam, tama ba? Now, siguro yung i-entertain lang natin siguro na mga naka-aha moment ngayon na mag-share sa kanilang aha moment. Siguro na kasi yung time natin ngayon is 11 na. So 10:45, quarter. Siguro mga 7 to 8 lang siguro din yung mga coaches nyo lang siguro na yung mag-continue. Mag-continue sa mga aha moment nyo ngayon. Okay lang po ba? Kasi I'm sure na marami sana yung mag-share dito sa aha moment. Pero yun nga, yung time natin. Okay? Now, sino ba yung una? Okay? Sino ba yung una? Siguro, mas maganda siguro na, diretso na lang mag-type. So, siguro, yung una na lang natawag, ha? Ulitin ko, siguro, pag nag-share ka sa aha moment mo, wag lang siguro yung masyadong mahaba. Kung siguro mga 2 to 3 minutes, tama na siguro yun. Tama ba? Kasi yung iba din, mag-share pa rin yung iba. Tama. So, hopefully na nakaintindihan lang tayo. Okay? Now, sino ba yung nauna dito? I think hindi na ako dito sa mga chat ko lang, tingnan ko lang yung chat na para at least makita ko kung sino yung sino ba yun? Si Coach si Coach Mausen. Mag-chat lang siguro or ano? Chat na lang or thumbs up na lang. Ang nakita ko dito si Sir Bruce. Siya yung malapit kasi sa screen ko dito. Okay, Sir Bruce? I think nag-thumbs up ka?
Apo.
Tama po ba?
Opo.
Sige. Paki-share nga yung na-aha moment mo ngayon sa nakita mong very special na training na talagang grabe. Tama ba?
Yes
Sige.
po. So, bali yung isa-share ko, naririnig po ba na maayos?
Yes.
Narinig po. So, i-share ko lang po yun doon sa napanood ko. Sabi nga doon, 'di ba yung parang yung babae, may nakita siyang note na nakalagay na parang yung about sa treasure. So nakalagay yung treasure na binigay nung anak niya ay talagang kumbaga parang trinabaho niya talaga agad. Kumbaga parang pinag-aralan niya, ginawa niya agad. Kumbaga hindi siya nagsayang ng panahon. Ginawa niya agad, pinag-aralan niya, nag-search siya about doon sa kung ano yung treasure na yun at nalaman at yun nga yung secret na sinasabi, nalaman natin na yung pala ay yung law of attraction. So sabi nga, you should understand the secret. So alam naman natin yung sinasabing secret, pag sinabing secret dito ay yun yung law of attraction. So sabi nga, you should understand the secret. Kailangan nauunawaan mo, alam mo kung ano yung ginagawa mo, kung ano yung nangyayari sa'yo. Alam mo kung ano yung pinasok mo. So sa atin ngayon, na naandi dito, alam natin dapat kung ano yung pinasok natin para hindi sa susunod na araw parang sari-sari ang naiisip natin na magbabago uli ang isip natin dahil wala tayong pagkakaunawa tungkol doon sa kung ano yung pinapasok natin. So kailangan nauunawaan talaga natin bawat ginagawa natin, bawat pinapasok natin, dapat nauunawaan natin. So, sabi nga dito, focus on what you did and what you did not want and what you want. Sabi, focus what you did not want and what you want. So dapat alam mo din, so ano ba yung mga bagay na ayaw mo? Ayaw mong gawin, ayaw mong mangyari sa'yo, o ayaw mong gawin ng iba sa'yo? At ano naman yung mga bagay na gustong-gusto mo? Ano yung mga bagay na gusto mong mangyari sa'yo? Ano yung bagay na gusto mong makamtan sa buhay mo? So once na iniisip mo yun, so yun yung mga sinasabi natin na parang nagbibigay sa atin ng mga negative thinking at positive thinking. Kapag yung mga bagay na ayaw natin, mga bagay na masasama, parang yun yung mga negative thinking natin na nagbibigay sa atin ng yung mga feelings na lagi kang nakasimangot, lagi kang masama ang mukha mo, magagalitin ka kapag ka laging negative ang iniisip mo. Pag positive naman, yung mga gusto mong mangyari, yun yung mga positive thinking na talagang namamalayan mo na lang, nakangiti ka na, nagfo-flow ka na sa kung ano yung parang iniisip mo, yung magandang iniisip mo. So your life is a physical manifestation of what you are thinking. So yun nga yung sinasabi, itong katawan natin, physical body natin, ito ay dito makikita kung ano yung bawat bagay na iniisip natin. So katulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, kapag laging masama ang iniisip mo, makikita dyan, lagi kang nakatungo, lagi kang nakasimangot, lagi kang magagalitin, masasama yung sinasabi mo. So kapag ka negative lagi, so kapag ang iniisip mo naman magaganda, lagi kang nakangiti, babati ka sa iba, kakaway pa, minsan nagpo-flow na yung body mo, na minsan nagsusway ka na, sumasayaw ka na, kasi ay maganda yung iniisip mo, masaya ka, maganda yung iniisip mo lagi. You are the masterpiece of your own life. So tama naman yon. Ikaw ang magpapalakad sa buhay mo, kung ano yung mangyayari, kung magiging ano ka bukas, yan ay depende sa kung ano yung ginagawa mo ngayon. So kung ano yung gagawin mo ngayon, ay yan ang magiging ikaw kinabukasan. So yung sinasabing you are the masterpiece of your own life. So whatever you're thinking today is creating your future. Yun nga. Kung ano yung iniisip mo ngayon na ikaw, yan yung magiging ikaw sa hinaharap. So ano pa yung iba kong mga nailista nga, yung sabi, yung mga different steps, yung 3 steps na sinasabi, sabi is to ask, matuto kang magtanong. Pag may mga bagay na hindi ka nauunawaan, may mga bagay na gusto kang malaman, So siguro bawasan na din muna natin yung mga minsan nahihiya tayo kaya ayaw nating magtanong. Minsan nahihiya tayo kaya ayaw nating lumapit doon sa isang tao. So minsan babawasan din natin ng konti yung hiya at matuto din tayong magtanong para malaman natin at matutunan natin yung isang bagay. Mas maliwanagan tayo doon sa isang bagay. So, magtanong tayo. So, at yung number 2 nga, believe that it is already yours. So, sadya, paniwalaan mo na ito ay makakamtan mo, na ikaw ay magiging ito din sa hinaharap. So sabi ko, minsan nga nababanggit ko dati, yung mga cheque na dumadating na 100,000, wow, mahahawakan ko din yan sa darating na panahon, sa darating na ilang buwan o sa darating na linggo o taon, mahahawakan ko din yan yung 100,000 na nasa cheque.
Yes, amen.
Mapapasa akin din yan.
Amen.
Dadating din yan sa akin. So paniwalaan mo, have faith, maniwala ka. Na yun nga, yung number 3, that you will receive it. Makakamtan mo yan, darating yan sa iyo. Sa panahon na hindi natin gusto na doon tayo malulungkot at disappointed. Doon sa panahon na hindi natin nakukuha yung mga gusto natin, doon tayo malungkot. Sadya naman, dahil tao lang tayo. Pero doon sa panahon, doon tayo nagiging disappointed talaga. Tapos, when the opportunity is there, don't lose any, kumbaga, don't doubt, wag ka na magdalawang isip. Umakto ka, gawan mo ng paraan. So, wag ka na magsayang ng panahon, wag ka na magsayang ng araw. Gawan mo agad ng paraan. Dahil hindi natin alam, baka yung opportunity na yon ay isang beses na lang at wala na kapag ka tinanggihan mo pa, baka hindi na mangyari. Tapos yung iba pa, yung mga powerful process nga, yung una, start making a list. Learn to appreciate little things in your life. Yung isa din yung nagustuhan ko, yung mga nangyayari sa atin, kahit maliliit na bagay, kahit minsan, dahil minsan kasi ang na-appreciate lang natin sa buhay natin kapag may dumadating na halimbawa, may dumating sa atin na blessings na kung ilang libo, kung 1,000, yung minsan doon tayo natuto. Pero kapag 5 pesos, ano ba may nagbigay sa atin ng 5 pesos, hindi natin masyadong na-appreciate kasi 5 pesos lang. Tapos yung 1,000, may nagbigay sa atin ng 1,000, may blessing, may 1,000 na dumating sa atin, doon tayo parang, I thank you, salamat. Pag 5 pesos, thank you, Pero yun ay blessing pa din sa atin. Malaki o maliit na amount yan ay blessing na dumadating sa atin at ipagpasalamat natin yun. Kahit yung nga sinasabing, appreciate little things na nangyayari sa buhay mo. Ipagpasalamat mo yan, malaki o maliit na bagay man na nangyayari sa iyo, ipagpasalamat mo lagi yan. Tapos yung visualize and you materialize. I-visual mo, isipin mo, ano ba yung mga gusto mo? Ano ba yung mga plano mo? Ano ba yung mga plano? Ano ba yung gusto mo sa buhay mo? Tapos nga, tapos yan ay kapag inisip mo yan, gagawa ka na ng mga paraan para mangyari yun. Tapos nga, yung isa pa, yung lagi ko ding naano sa akin, sinasabi ko din sa sarili ko, pasensya ko kahit medyo mahaba, pero gusto ko lang talagang i-share, hindi ko mapigilan eh. Sabihin mo kung magkano, kung may kailangan ka, sabihin mo kung magkano o kung ano yung gusto mo, lalo na sa Diyos, sabihin mo sa Diyos kung magkano o kung ano yung gusto mo, para alam ng Diyos kung ano yung ibibigay sa iyo at hindi mo namamalayan mangyayari yon. Kasi yan po ay nangyayari na din sa akin. Parang testimony ka na din, dito ka na din. Testimony ko na din po. Kasi yan po ay nangyari sa akin kung bakit ako nakapasok din dito. Kasi yan po ay nangyari sa akin. Kasi po ako po ay may hinihiramang tao. Wala talaga akong hawak na pera nung panahong yon. Wala akong ano. Tapos yung hinihiraman ko, tiwalang-tiwala ako na makakahiram ako dun sa taong yon na sinabihan ko. Pero nung gabing nag-usap kami, nagsabi siya sa akin, "Naku, pasensya na utoy. Baka hindi kita mapahiraman kasi ako ay dumaan na din sa process na 'yan at ako'y gumastos na ng kumbaga malaking halaga diyan. Kumbaga millions na ang nagastos niya, ay baka hindi na muna kita mapahiram diyan." Di ako naman po parang medyo siyempre ako'y nalungkot din na ano, tapos naintindihan ko naman yung sinasabi niya. Pero kinabukasan, alam niyo po pinag-pray ko din siya bago ako matulog naman, pinag-pray ko, "Lord, ano ba talaga yung plano mo? Lord, makakahanap ako ng taong mahihiraman ko ng pera, may magpapahiram sa akin. Makakahanap ako ng mahihiraman ko para makapasok ako dito." Alam niyo po kinabukasan, Sunday, habang nasa church kami, yung taong hinihiraman ko, kasama ko siya sa kumakanta sa unahan. Tapos biglang isang beses na doon siya sa may tagiliran, tapos tinawagan niya ako palapit. Akala ko magtatanong lang ng kung ano yung kinakanta, kung anong pamagat ng kakantahin. Hindi ko naman alam yung pamagat mismo. Kaya umakyat uli ako, tapos pangalawa pinapunta niya uli ako, tinawagan niya uli ako. At alam niyo po, kala ko kakamayan lang ako. Alam niyo pagkamay sa akin, mabilisan lang po, parang inabot lang sa akin, inabot lang yung kamay ko. Pag-abot ng kamay sa akin, alam niyo, hindi ko alam kung bakit may laman yung palad ko. May laman yung palad ko. Ayaw ko naman agad, kumbaga alam ko na amount 'yon. Ayaw ko naman bilangin agad sa harapan niya kasi nakakahiya din naman, parang naku, di ako nagpasalamat po. Salamat kuya, salamat. Salamat talaga. Tapos ako'y parang nag-act na nga din ng, "Salamat kuya, maraming parang ako'y nag-bless doon sa kamay niya. "Salamat kuya." Tapos
Wow,
alam niyo po,
palakpakan naman natin. Grabe,
alam
palakpak.
niyo po nung binilang ko yun bigla, tapos bilangin ko agad bigla. Kumbaga 10,000 yung nasa palad ko, 10,000 yung nasa palad ko. Tapos kaya ako'y natuwa din talagang pagkabilang ko, wow talaga. Yung hinihiram kong pera para dito at yung kumbaga para din sa gagastusin ko, biglang nangyari agad bigla nung kinabukasan, kahit sinabi niya na hindi niya ako mapapahiram, biglang nangyari. Kumbaga minsan iso-surprise ka na lang ng Lord kung ano yung hinihiling mo, yung sinasabi mo, yung gusto mo, iso-surprise ka na lang bigla mangyayari sa'yo. Kaya sabihin mo every night, sabihin mo kung ano yung mga gusto mo, ganyan din na sinasabi, magkakatrabaho ako, ganito ang mangyayari sa akin. Gagaling yung kapatid ko. Sabihin mo lahat kung ano yung gusto mo mismo. Gusto ko ng kotse, Lord, magkakaroon kami ng bagong bahay. Lord, magkakaano kami ng ganito.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
Para nga alam ng Lord kung ano yung ibibigay mismo sa iyo. Tapos sabi nga, yung kasunod din ito, understand yourself. Kailangan maunawaan mo din kung ano yung sarili mo. Do you treat yourself, you want others people to treat you? Itinatrato mo din ba yung sarili mo kung ano yung gusto mong pagtrato sa iyo ng ibang tao? So kailangan ganun din tayo, kung tayo ay maano sa ating sarili, masayahin tayo, maano tayo, dahil gusto natin na yung ibang tao paglapit sa atin parang nakangiti din, masayahin. So kailangan ganun din yung pagtrato natin sa kanila, kung tayo ay maano sa kanila, parang magalang sa kanila, hindi natin namamalayan, paglapit nila sa atin, pag-usap nila sa atin, parang magagalang din sila sa atin. Kasi ganun nila tayo nakikita. Tapos yung pa nga po, mga kasunod, kung ano yung gusto natin buhay sa hinaharap. So laging nangyayari sa iyo ngayon lahat ng nararanasan mo ngayon at ito ay paghahanda lamang sa kung ano yung mangyayari ka sa hinaharap. So kung ano yung nangyayari sa atin ngayon, ito ay mga paghahanda lamang. So katulad nito, tayo ay nasa isang training. So ito ay mga paghahanda lamang sa atin sa kung ano tayo magiging hinaharap. Ano ba tayo sa hinaharap? Magiging mayaman tayo sa hinaharap. Magiging millionaires tayo sa hinaharap. So yun. So kung ito ay mga ano lang, yes, yung sinasabi natin dito makikita natin yung paniniwala at faith mo na mangyayari yun sa iyo. So kasi dito nga kailangan naintindihan mo kung ano yung mga ginagawa mo at yung mga hindi ka masaya, maaaring wala ka sa tamang landas mo. So alam naman natin kapag ayaw natin yung ginagawa natin, parang mabilis tayong pag ayaw natin, mabilis tayong mapagod, mabilis tayong naiinip agad tayo. Pero kapag gusto mo yung isang bagay, so kita mo, dumarating na yung oras na yung dumarating, pero hindi mo namamalayan, 2 hours na pala ang nakalipas, pero masayang-masaya ka pa din. Tapos gustong-gusto mo din agad kapag ay sana Tuesday na uli para nagkikita na kami, para sabi nga doon sa una, yung 4 powerful scriptures to help you guide you into God's seasons of abundance. Sa pagyaman mo, magiging tulong din sa iyo ano yung mga kailangan mong gawin. Number 1, you can't buy a blessing, but you can sow your way out of a problem. Yung blessing po, hindi natin yan kayang bilhin. Pero pwede tayong gumawa ng paraan, gumawa ng actions. Yung sinabi nga, but you can sow, magtanim ka. Pwede tayong gumawa ng paraan, iba't ibang paraan. Gumawa tayo ng mga i-act natin. At yung kung ano yung mga nararanasan mong ano ngayon, halimbawa katulad ng nangyari sa akin, wala akong pera pero gumawa din ako ng paraan. At mangyayari yun, darating yun sa'yo. Gawin natin yun. Tapos yung number 2, believe and receive God's favor by faith. Magkaroon ka ng pananampalataya na yun ay napaniwalaan mo, katulad din yung sinabi kanina doon sa step, yung believe. So believe and receive God's favor by faith. Hindi pa man nangyayari, paniwalaan mo lang na yun ay mangyayari sa iyo. At makakamtan mo yun at matatanggap mo yun. Sa hindi mo inaasahang mga pagkakataon, matatanggap mo yun. So yung tapos number 3, change your mindset. Baguhin mo kung ano yung iniisip mo, nasa isip mo. Kung lagi kang masama ang nasa isip mo, tanggalin mo yan, palitan mo ng mga positive, ng magagandang mga bagay. Kasi sa ngayon po, hindi natin maaalis na sa ngayon, halos negative na ang mga nasa isip natin, nasa isip ng marami. Kasi ano ba yung mga napapanood natin sa TV, mga balita na nakikita natin sa TV, na ganito, na may mga virus, yung mga virus. So nagiging negative yung nasa utak natin na parang may panibagong virus na uli sa South Africa na mas mataas pa, na mas delikado pa kaysa sa doon sa doon sa COVID-19, yung COVID-19 ngayon, na mas delikado pa doon yung virus ngayon na umaano sa South Africa. So kapag kayo ang mga nakita mo, syempre matatakot ka, parang maaano ka, tas sari-sari na maisip mo, naku, ayoko ng anong ganito, sari-sari, naku, paano naman kami, na kapag ka lagi mong inisip, naku, wala na akong pera, wala na akong ano, papaano, wala din ako makabili ng ganito, papaano ba ito? Sari-sari na nasip mo, nagiging negative na ang iniisip mo, baguhin mo yan. Baguhin mo ng mga positive na, di ba sinabi nga, God will provide everything you need. Lahat ay kayang ibigay ng Diyos. Kahit anong pangangailangan mo, ano pa man yung pangangailangan mo, lahat yan ay kayang ibigay ng Diyos. Kaya ako po sa akin, ano ko din na every time, kahit wala akong pera, wala akong ganitong isang bagay, lahat parang inaako, Lord, thank you po, magkakaroon ako nito. Lord, salamat po. Ipagpasalamat mo pa din. Gawin mong positive bawat bagay na nasa isip mo. Maganda lagi ang iniisip mo. Makikita mo nagfo-flow yan mismo sa sarili mo. Yun nga, lagi kong sinasabi na kapag lagi kang positive, lagi kang nakangiti. Minsan yung pakikinig mo ng music, minsan hindi natin napapansin, minsan yung kamay natin, minsan nagfo-flow na yan na parang nagbibit na gano'n na hindi natin namamalayan. Kahit yung paa natin nagbibit na yan, unti-unti nang pumapadyak na gano'n kasi nagbibit na tayo sa tugtog. Tapos tayo unti-unti tumatango na kasi ay nagfo-flow na tayo doon sa kung ano yung pinapakinggan natin. Kapag lagi kang maganda ang iniisip mo, yan ang palaging mangyayari sa'yo. At yung panghuli, yung pang-apat, do not allow the circumstance to dictate your sowing. Kumbaga, huwag mong hayaan na kung ano yung nararanasan mo ngayon, ito yung magdidikta sa'yo sa kung ano yung gagawin mo, kung ano magiging ano ka sa buhay mo. Huwag mong hayaan na yung problema, yung isang problema, hayaan mo na yan, huwag mong hayaan na yan ang magpalakad sa iyo. Kasi pagka nagpatalo ka lang sa problema, wala, lalo ka ding minsan ikaw pa din ang magkakasakit. Minsan kapag nagpatalo ka sa isang problema, lagi ka lang nasa isang sulok, walang nangyayari sa iyo. Lagi ka lang malungkot. So wag mong hayaan na yun ang magdikta sa iyo. Lagi din nating isipin na may Diyos na tutulong sa atin. Ako po may mga nababasa na ano pa yung ikakabahala mo kung hawak mo yung kamay ng Diyos. Yun yung mga isa kong nabasa, yung isang mga nababasa ko po na yung mga may kasamang picture na inaabot, hawak-hawak na yung kamay ng Diyos. Ano pa yung tapos may nakasulat doon na ano pa yung ikakabahala mo sa buhay mo kung hawak mo ang kamay ng Diyos. So lagi mong isipin, may Diyos na tutulong sa iyo. 'Di ba lagi din sinabi, hindi ka niya pinabayaan, hindi ka niya iniwan. Lagi lang siyang kasama mo. Kung ano yung Diyos na naggawa ng mga miracles simula pa nung Old Testament, siya din yung Diyos na gagawin niya ngayong panahong ito. So sabi nga, we have a choice. Yung isa din nating meron din tayong pagpipilian. We have a choice. We have a choice to obey. Tayo ba ay susunod? Kasi iba't ibang uri nga naman ng tao may kanya-kanya siyang pagpipilian. May iba't ibang gusto ang tao. Iba't ibang, hindi po pwedeng yung gusto ko, gusto din ni Sir Manny, ni Coach Manny, o ni Coach Ronald. Hindi po pwedeng yung mga bagay na ayaw ko ay ayaw din nila, o yung mga bagay na parang maganda sa akin ay maganda din sa kanila. So kasi iba't ibang uri tayo din ng tao. So may kanya-kanya din tayong choice na kung ano ba yung gagawin natin. Katulad nga sinabi ko, yung a choice to obey. Tayo ba ay susunod dun sa opportunity na dumating sa atin? Ito ba'y gagawa natin iaak ba natin? Gagawan ba natin ng paraan? O hindi na lang? So nasa sa atin yon. Tapos meron pa din a choice to plant our seeds. Tayo ba ay magtatanim? Katulad ng ibang mga ano natin, ito ginagawa ko kasi gusto kong makatulong din sa iba. Gusto ko ding makatulong sa pamilya ko, gusto ko ding makatulong doon sa ibang tao na nakikita ko na parang medyo ano nga ang buhay nila. So, may choice din tayo sa a choice to use this time to encourage and bless others. May choice din tayo kung hihikayatin ba natin yung ibang tao. Katulad dito, yung pagsali dito. So kaya ba natin, tayo ba ay gagawa ng paraan para i-encourage sila din na sa isang magandang opportunity tulad nito? So nasa sa atin yon kung ano ba yung gusto natin. So we are position ourselves to receive from God. So yung nga sinabi na we are positioning ourselves to receive from God. Yung lahat ng mga ginagawa natin ngayon, yung sinabi ko, yung ginagawa natin ngayon na nagiging paghahanda natin kasi we are positioning ourselves. Ipinuposition lang natin yung sarili natin sa tabi ng Diyos para sa kanyang mga pagpapala. Parang puposisyon na lang tayo na para sambutin yung mga pagpapala na ibibigay niya sa atin. Kasi nagtanim tayo, may gumawa tayo ng paraan. Once na iniact mo, aani ka talaga dyan. Nagtanim ka, aani ka. So yun po, yung iba't iba kong mga natutunan din dito sa pinanood ko. Talagang inano ko na yung mga isinulat ko, mga habang ako ay nanonood, yung mga gusto kong ano din talaga, nagvi-visualize din sa akin. So yun po, yung mga natutunan ko ngayon, tapos biglang nag-ano din sa akin na related nga dito na hindi ko mapigilan. Kahit sinabi na po na 2 to 3 minutes lang, ay hindi ko mapigilan talaga.
Okay lang yan, sir.
Parang tuwan, kasi ako ay parang natutuwa at parang masayang-masaya. Parang ako ay, dito nga ako, parang nakaupo lang sa higaan ko eh. Pero ako ay parang gusto kong, para akong yumuyog-yog na lumulundag na gusto kong, masaya ako, parang gusto kong dali-dali, parang yung nga sinasabi na parang excited ako na kailangan malaman nyo din ito. Hindi po pwedeng ako lang ang may alam nito, yung katulad nung yung mga idinagda kong isinare ko. Ayaw ko na ako lang ang may alam. Gusto ko alam nyo din, dahil gusto ko din na maihanda din kayo, magawa ninyo para makamit ninyo yung iba't ibang mga blessings na gusto nyong mangyari sa inyo.
Amen.
So sa panghuli na lang po, iwanan ko lang as closing na lang po. Uulitin ko lang uli. Lahat ng gusto mo, yung mga lahat ng gusto mo, sabihin mo mismo directly sa Lord. Isa-isahin mo. Kahit maliit na bagay, kahit yan man ay, Lord, gusto ko ng bagong tsinelas. Lord, gusto ko ng bagong ganito. Basta sabihin mo lang sa kanya. Kahit alam na ng Lord yan, gusto lang niya na sabihin mo sa kanya. At hindi mo namamalayan, darating at darating na lang yan sa'yo. Kasi ako maraming testimony na gusto kong sabihin, pero yun na lang po sa muna. At maraming pong salamat sa inyong pakikinig. Thank you po. At God bless you po sa ating lahat. At lahat, magiging millionaires tayo in the future.
Kasi yung iba na hindi mo nasabi, sabihin mo lang ulit sa another training. Okay? Para at least masulit talaga. Okay. Oh, grabe. Thank you, sir. Thank you sa napakagandang sharing talaga. By the way, I'm sure na, sino pa yung next dito? Bago ko pala tawagin yung next share, mag-share ngayon sa AHA Moment, ano lang ha, mas maganda siguro na pag yung next na mag-share, mas maganda siguro, lima, thank you sir, okay. Na mag-chat lang kayo or mag-raise hand lang kayo para matawag ko kayo kung sino yung next, okay, na mag-share. Now, ulitin ko lang siguro pag nag-share ka, mas maganda siguro yung part mo lang. Okay, mas maganda yung part lang siguro, no? Wag mo lang siguro na, para at least ikaw talaga yung naka-aha moment kaysa parang nilahat mo na yung pagkasabi. Mas maganda siguro yung ikaw talaga para narinig talaga ng tao na, okay, yan pala yung ano niya. Okay lang po ba? Nagkaintindihan lang po ba tayo dito?
Man, ang sharing is para sa sarili. Para sa sarili.
Para sa sarili.
Ang moment mo, tapos i-ano mo sa sarili mo. Okay? Yan, para mas yung retention ng learning ba is mataas. Okay?
Tama.
At the same time, it serves as reminder din sa sarili na, for example, dapat pala feel good ako. Kasi blah, blah, blah. Ako, ha? Okay?
Ako dapat ako. Okay, so sige. Sino ba yung next? Sige, raise hands or mag-chat ka para makita ko. Wala na? Nasabi na lahat ni Sir Bruce? Wala na ba? At try. Tingnan ko yung mga nag-chat dito. Parang may nag-chat, hindi ko lang nakita, no? Sino ba yun? Wala na. Ang nakita ko lang dito, amen lang. Wala na siguro. So, wala na mag-share? Wala na po ba? Wala na? Parang naubos lahat ni Sir Bruce?
Merong isa ko man eh.
Sino?
Si May po, si May.
Si May. Sige, Coach May. Sige.
So, yung aha moment ko po, sir, is kasi po nalaman ko na po yung sekreto, which is the law of attraction. So, it is time for me po na i-apply ko na po ito. And dahil na-apply ko na po ito, kagaya po nung sa Genie nga, sinasabi niya, your wish is my command. So my wish is his command. So I will ask, I will believe, and I will receive. Kasi po, totoo po yun kasi po kapag nag-iisip ako ng mga negative, and kapag nag-iisip ako ng mga feeling ng mga nega, it's creating my future. Yun po yung nangyayari. Pero kapag iniisip ko po yung mga positive, mafe-feel good po ako, and that's the time na ma-enter po sa akin yung love and passion. Yun lang po.
Okay, bigyan natin ng maraming virtual clap si Coach May. Thank you, Coach May, sa sharing mo. Okay, now yung next na mag-share sa ngayon is walang iba, yung taga Cebu na isa sa mga idolo ko dito. Okay, si Sir Coach J-Lord. Okay, Coach J-Lord.
Hello, Coach Man. Hello.
Yes.
Naririnig niyo lang ako? Klaro lang ba yung
Yes, sir.
boses ko?
Yes, Coach. Yes, Coach.
Hello guys, i-share ko lang yung aha moment ko kasi marami akong aha moment kanina, tapos yung mga sinabi ni Sir Bros napakahaba kasi parang na talagang pumasok talaga yung, pero ito lang guys yung ma-share ko. Yung aha moment ko is we are in control with our beliefs na kung ano yung buhay na gusto natin is kaya pala talaga. We just hold on to our thoughts na kung ano yung gusto natin is yun lang ang lagi nating iniisip kasi minsan merong mga negative na naaapektuhan tayo, hindi pala tayo aware na mismo ako, hindi ako aware na kaya ko palang kontrolin yung mga bagay na mangyayari sa buhay ko, which is yun yung tinuro kanina sa The Secret. Tapos yung the law of attraction na it exists kasi kung ano yung ina-attract mo, ano yung ina-attract natin is yun yung nangyayari. Then, feel good. So, every day, feel good. Kasi, pag masama yung gising natin, experience ko din yan. Kasi, pag masama yung gising mo, lalo na pag meron kang mga medyo na broken-hearted ka ngayon or sa mga in love dito, ang pagkuha pala ng goal is para kang in love or kung masama yung araw mo, para ka ding broken-hearted. Kumbaga, pag broken-hearted ka is hindi ka makapag-isip ng maganda sa goals mo, epektado lahat. Kasi tayo pala lahat guys is, ang nakuan ko kanina is, tayo pala is energy. We are connected as one. Kumbaga, ang energy, wala siyang umpisa, wala siyang huli. So, kumbaga, energy flows. So, tayo palang lahat tao is connected. So, kung ano yung iniisip talaga natin, yun ang nangyayari. Kumbaga, kung nag-focus, we hold on to our thoughts. Thoughts becomes things. Yun yung sinabi kanina. So, napaka-powerful pala ng mind natin, guys, na yun yung natutunan ko talaga kanina na na-refresh ako. Kasi marami na akong in-attract sa buhay ko na nangyari sa akin at alam ito ng mentor. Well, guys, pasalamatan natin si Coach Ronald kasi napaka-inspiring ng training ngayon at napakaraming refreshment na-refresh. So, guys, simula ngayon, sama-sama tayo na mag-isip. Huwag na tayong mag-isip ng mga bagay na hindi nakakatulong sa atin, lalo na sa pagninegosyo natin dito sa EC. Kumbaga, pag inisip mo na wala kang ma-invite, wala tayong ma-recruit, or wala na tayong makuha, yun yung nangyayari sa atin. Okay? Pero pag inisip natin na marami pa akong 15 heads, maraming papasok sa akin na 15 heads, tapos inisip mo yan palagi, so yun yung nagiging reality natin. So law of attraction, then yung gratitude. So yun lang yung closing ko na ugaliin natin na magpasalamat. Kasi na magpasalamat tayo na nandito na tayo sa EC. Then sa mga maliliit na achievement, kung meron kang leader ngayon, magpasalamat ka kasi meron ka ng leader. Kung nasa EC ka, wala ka pang leader, magpasalamat ka pa rin kasi nandito ka na sa EC. Tama po ba? So, yun, maraming ipagpapasalamat kasi pag grateful ka, lagi mong na-appreciate yung mga bagay na nangyayari sa'yo. So, be thankful always. Then, yun, law of attraction. So, sama-sama tayo guys na mag-attract. So, ako, i-attract ko lang yung mga bagay na gusto ko. Simula ngayon kasi na-remind na ako. Then, I am aware na kung positive lang yung iniisip mo, yun yung mangyayari sa buhay natin. So, yun lang, Coach Man. Marami pa sana akong sasabihin pero yun, may marami pang mag-share. Kaya guys, tuloy lang natin yung mga attraction natin na mga positive. So, yun lang, Coach Man. Thank you.
Alright, bigyan natin ng maraming virtual clap. Si Coach G-Lord from Karkar, Cebu. Okay, now sino yung next? Okay, I think ilan na yon? 1, 2, 3, 4. Apat na. Wala na. Para tawagin ko na yung last na mag-share talaga. Wala na. Parang yung iba to, gising. Huwag mo na matulog, kasi pala patapos na tayo Okay,
Si
now.
Stella.
Si Coach Stella daw, mag-share. Sige, Coach. May nagsabi daw, ikaw daw mag-share.
Coach Hazel.
May nag-comment si Juneto. Kung ano ang iniisip ko ngayon, yan din yung mangyayari sa future ko. If I want to be successful in this opportunity in EC, so I just want to feel it, and surely it becomes when I think about it. Okay, so start where you are. Use what you have.
Sige, pagka gusto mag-share ni ano?
Coach Cecil.
Oh, saan na ba yung tinatawag ko? Hindi pa nag-share. Si Coach Stella.
Tuluyan.
Sige, Coach. Oh, yung next. Sino yung next? Oh, wala na ba? Oh, natatakot? Nahihiya?
Cecil.
Natakot na mag-share kasi nasabi na lahat na yun sa karamihan. So wala na. Sige, yung tatawagin ko na lang yung last na kasi yung time din natin. Okay, so i-assist niya lang yung mga coaches, kung sino yung mga coaches nandito, yung mga downline yung naka-attend dito, kayo na lang yung mag-assist sa mga aha moment nila ngayon sa training. Okay, kasi yung time natin ay 11:30 na. Okay, now siguro hindi ko na patatagalin, yung last na mag-share sa atin sa ngayon sa ating nakikita na training, naririnig, is walang iba yung founder. Okay, ano ba, hopefully na pakinggan natin. Tama ba? Kasi siya po yung dahilan sa lahat. Bakit tayo nandito? Okay lang po ba? Okay, so pwede ba natin bigyan ng maraming virtual clap? Okay?
Okay, thank you
Coach
so much.
Ronald.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Manny. Ayan, palakpakan naman ang bawat isa na nandito ngayon. Now, unang-una guys, pakitingnan po yung mga mukha ninyo sa screen. Kung yung mukha ba yan is talaga bang payaman, ha? Okay, talaga bang excited, ha? Happy ba? Okay, paki-check nga, baka nakalimutan agad yung training, ha? No? Guys, 'di ba, law of attraction, okay? Our thoughts leads to feelings, our feelings lead to actions. Our actions lead to results. Pero yun nga, no, kung ano yung sitwasyon natin sa buhay ngayon, kung ano yung result natin ngayon, okay, direct proportion, kumbaga, effect yan kung ano yung nasa utak natin. Pero yun nga, based sa science, napakahirap i-monitor yung thoughts natin kasi every day, no, more or less nasa 60,000 thoughts, no, yung tumatakbo sa isipan natin every day, 60,000. Kaya impossible yun na ma-monitor, tama ba? Pero ang pinaka the best way para ma-monitor mo yung ano mo is just observe your feelings. Okay? Kasi nga, kung ano yung feelings mo ngayon, na-influensyahan yan kung ano yung nasa utak mo. Kaya, ulitin ko, pag once nasa higher vibration, excuse me po, kung nasa higher vibration po tayo, ibig sabihin, feel good tayo. Okay? Nandun yung love, excited, passion, tama ba? Pero kung nasa low vibration tayo, nasa, kumbaga, yung bad feelings, di ba? Guilt, anger. Pag once yun yung palagi nasa ano mo ngayon, sa subconscious o yung feeling mo, yun yung umiiral mo everyday, talaga mahirap yung buhay. Now, kindly check yourself. No? Kung ikaw ba ay everyday palagi ka bang nakasimangot, tama ba? Or hatred lang ba yung nasa ano mo ngayon, sa heart mo? Then now is the right time. Tama? Kasi nga may natinan kasi akong training, guys. Parang ganito ba? Di ba yung TV dati, yung mga TV dati, yung mga old, yung may, kumbaga, yung mga old TV before, di ba naka-antena yon, no? Then normally, pag once pangit yung signal, di ba, anong gagawin natin? Normally, iniikot-ikot natin yung kawayan para makakuha ng signal. Nagets ba ninyo? Now, sa panay ikot mo ng kawayan, kung hindi pa rin, kung pangit pa rin yung signal, kung pangit pa rin yung kuha ng TV, ano yung ginagawa most of the time? Di ba? Pinuputol yung mga kahoy. Tama? Para yung reception sa signal malakas. Alam nyo ba guys, sa law of attraction, ganun din. Kung marami po tayong nakaharang ngayon, okay, nakaharang sa blessing, kaya yung iba nahirapan makakuha ng blessing. Kasi nga, yung maraming nakaharang. No? Ano yung mga nakaharang? Yung guilt, yung anger, yung envy. Nagets nyo ba yung point ko? Kaya kung napansin nyo guys, yung last part sa The Secret, ang nilagay doon, feel good. Okay? Kasi kung feel good ka always, di ba? At inspired ka palagi, then magiging madali ang lahat. Kaya ulitin ko, sa law of attraction, napaka-importanting maintindihan nyo po yung process. No? Na yung result po natin, depende po yan sa action. Pero yung action natin guys, depende po yan sa feelings natin. Okay, kung inspired ka, kung happy ka, kung passionate ka sa nagawa mo, kung love mo yung ginagawa mo, then doon mo ma-experience yung effortless effort. No? Na para kumbaga, kahit buong araw ka nagne-network pero hindi mo feeling na pagod ka kasi nga love mo yung ginagawa mo. Nagets ba? Okay, just like sa pinapakita kanina na yung 'di ba yung mga halaman tumutubo yan effortless. Okay? Yung mangga namumunga yan ang daming-dami effortless. Kasi nga 'yon, no? Gaganon po mag-work ang law of attraction. Kaya ulitin ko, hopefully no na nakuha yung pinaka-lesson today na dapat lang yun nga, dapat feel good tayo always. Okay? Then saglit. At ang law of attraction guys, ang pinaka-the best na para mas mabilis natin makuha yung ina-attract natin is yun nga, kahit ngayon pa lang dapat i-feel na natin. Kaya meron akong i-playback na clip na gusto ko na lahat tayo mag-participate, no? Lahat tayo mag-participate kung ano yung nasa video, kung i-feel, kumbaga parang ganito ba? Gusto ko na right now ma-feel niyo yung abundance. Ma-feel niyo yung ano yung feeling kung meron ka ng sasakyan. Kasi nga sa law of attraction dapat ngayon pa lang i-feel mo na na-receive mo na ngayon pa lang. Okay, nagets niyo ba yung point ko? Then guys, for sure ma-appreciate niyo po pag once mag-participate po kayo ngayon. Okay? Now, i-share screen ko lang saglit para at least may idea po kayo. Ayan. Lahat mag-participate. Dapat i-feel nyo rin.
When you're visualizing, when you've got that picture playing out in your mind, always and only dwell upon the end result. Here's an example. Look at the back of your hands right now. Really, look at the back of your hands. The color of your skin, the freckles, the blood vessels, the rings, the fingernails, the fake fingernails. Take in all those details right before you close your eyes. And then see those hands, your fingers, wrapping around the steering wheel of your brand new car.
This is such a holographic experience, so real in this moment that you don't even feel like you need the car because it feels like you already have it.
It's the feeling that really creates the attraction, not just the picture or the thought. And I think for a lot of people, they think, well, if I think positive thoughts, or if I visualize having what I want, that'll be enough. But if you're doing that and still not feeling abundant or feeling, loving and joyful, then it doesn't, from my mind, really create the power of the attraction.
This is where the secret actually moves into action.
Guys, nagets niyo ang lesson, no? Ulitin ko, ngayon pa lang i-feel niyo na ho na milyonaryo ka. i-feel nyo na yung mga gusto nyo sa buhay is nandyan na. Para mas mabilis yung attraction. Okay? Hindi lang wishful thinking ba? Di ba ano yung feeling kung i-feel mo talaga? Let's say for example, I mean, imagine nyo ngayon guys na nagmaniho po tayo ng sasakyan. Yung dream car mo talaga, hindi dream car ng upline mo o yung ng kapatid mo o kahit sino. Yung dream car mo talaga. Isipin mo, tapos i-feel mo yung aircon. Okay guys, nakikinig ba lahat? Okay, gusto ko lang ma-experience nyo ba yung na-feel ni partner Bruce ngayon na super happy, very excited, di ba? Then, ulitin ko ho, please participate, no? Kung ano yung dream car mo ngayon, i-imagine mo yan. Okay, i-feel mo yung lamig ng aircon, i-feel mo yung magandang music, di ba? While nasa loob ka ng sasakyan mo, kasama mo yung mga anak mo, kasama mo yung parents mo, 'di ba, na namamasyal kayo. Now, ano yung feeling? 'Di ba? It creates joy, no? Tuloy ako. Basta ang point ko guys is 'yon. Nung nag-start po kami, share ko lang saglit yung experience ko. Alam nyo ba yung pinapagawa namin ng apply namin? Pinapapunta po kami sa casa, okay? Tapos, pina-request po kami na mag-test drive talaga. Well, habang tinitest drive namin yung sasakyan, grabe yung feeling guys, no? Grabe yung feelings, inspired ka, motivated ka, kaya inspired kang humataw, inspired kang hatawin yung negosyo kasi nga full of energy ka kasi. Unlike kung yung isipan mo ngayon, yung feeling mo ngayon is puros negative. Let's say for example, pag sabihin mo na I can't afford that, automatic, no, mawala na yung mga ideas paano ka maka-afford. Let's say for example, iPhone worth 70,000. Pag sabihin mo yan na I can't afford it, good news, hindi ka talaga maka-afford nun. Pero kung sabihin mo, how can I afford that? Then believe me guys, no? Automatic mga ideas yung papasok. Ano yung gagawin mo para makabili ka nun? Guys, nagets nyo ba? Kaya ulitin ko, law of attraction is, it really works. Ang law of attraction guys, ito yung dilemma nito. Maniwala ka man or hindi, kumbaga, nag-operate po siya 24 hours, 7 days a week. Kaya napaka-bless mo ngayon na nakita mo yung training, nagkaroon ka ngayon ng awareness na ganito pala. Then I know for sure lahat po tayo naka-experience ng ganito. Minsan sa buhay natin, di ba? For example, umaga pa lang, sabihin mo na, ang malas ko naman ngayon. Then guess what? Buong araw, mamalasin ka. No? Napansin mo na pagpunta mo sa palaging sablay yung mga ginagawa mo. Now, ngayon, at least na-realize mo na talagang nag-work siya. Para siyang electricity ba? No, na hindi mo nakikita yung electricity, pero may electricity, no? Good or bad person ka man, pag hawakan mo yan, talaga makuryente ka. Ganon din po yung law of attraction. No, parang law of gravity din po yan. Na pag once mahulog ka sa building, alangan naman sa taas ka pupunta, talagang sa baba ka pupunta. Gets niyo po? Meaning, nag-work talaga siya. Maniwala ka man nun or hindi, nasa sayo na yan. Pero yun nga, napaka-bless po ninyo kasi napanood po ninyo yung video na yan. Then, to be honest with you guys, siguro, more than 10 times ko na yun napanood. Pero until now, every time na pinapanood ko yun, ang goosebump pa rin. No? Maninig pa rin yung balahibo ko kasi ma-feel mo talaga. At the same time, kung i-reflect mo sa buhay mo, talagang na-experience mo din. No? Kaya, yun. Then, ulitin ko guys, no, yung experience ko na nakapag-test drive, then, alam mo yun, for example na lang, pinapastay po kami sa mga hotel na mga mamahalin. Talagang sinabuhay namin kung ano yung gusto namin. Then, eventually nangyari. Kaya guys, I hope no magkaroon tayo ng ganitong training kahit once a month. Kasi para every time na may mga bago tayo, makapanood din sila. Now, si Coach Manny lang siguro yung si Coach Man, kasi parang hinihika ako. Ayan.
Okay, thank you, Coach, sa sharing. Okay, so yung time natin ngayon is 11:25. Malayo pang mag-12. Tama ba? 11:25. So by the way, tapos na po yung ano natin. So yun nga, hopefully next na magkaroon tayo ulit ng ganitong training. Kahit siguro mga sa isang 1 month, tama ba? O twice a month. Kasi napakaganda kasi yung mga aha moment doon sa nakikita natin lahat. Tama ba? Kahit ako, nakikita ko, na-remind ako ulit. Sabi nga ni Coach J-Lord kanina, na-remind siya ulit sa mga gusto niya sa buhay. Okay, pero ang sa akin lang doon din sa aha moment ko doon, lahat naman nakikita ko maganda talaga, pero ang ending pa rin dito is basihan pa rin dito yung action pa rin, tama ba? Application, kung ano man yung nakikita nyo ngayon na nafe-feel nyo na yan, tama ba? Naramdaman nyo na yan, na yun po yung mangyari sa'yo kasi in-attract mo na yung bagay na nakikita mo ngayon na, tama ba? Gusto mo, pero pag na feeling mo lang yan, tama ba? In-attract mo lang yan, wala kang ginagawa, wala pa rin. Kaya yung tawag sa training natin, law of attraction, di ba? Yung attract din, yung ikat natin yung part doon, action, tama ba? Law attraction. So meaning, ang pang-part doon sa last doon, action pa rin nakabase lahat. Tama ba? Okay, so agree, tama ba? Agree ba kayo? Kasi yun din po yung napakaintindi ko doon, diba? Attraction. So may part talaga doon sa kung ano natin, so nakabase pa rin dito sa gagawin natin after. Now, hindi yung nakita natin ngayon, okay po yan kasi na-remind tayo na we are capable, capable ba yun ang tawag doon? Tama, mayroon tayong kapasidad talaga na makuha natin yung mga gusto sa buhay natin. Tama ba? Kaya may purpose po yan, kaya tayo nabubuhay dito sa mundo kasi deserve tayo na magkaroon ng magandang buhay. Tama ba? Pero yun nga, sa nakikita natin ngayon, nakabase pa rin yan sa action pagkatapos nito. Yung application pa rin yung pinaka-importante sa lahat. Okay? Hindi lang yung na-motivate ka ngayon, na-inspire ka, excited ka, pero hindi hanggang doon lang. Tama ba? Ang tunay na ano dito is nasa labas po, yung application po yung tunay na dito yung para makakreate ka ng tawag natin dito yung nakikita mo ngayon sa training natin. Okay, so hopefully nakuha lang yung point doon kasi yun nga, napakaganda talaga yung training natin. Okay, so yun na lang siguro. Then yung mga coaches na lang siguro yung mag-assess sa mga aha moments sa iba na hindi nakashare ngayon. Okay, yung mga coaches na lang yung mag-assess sa mga aha moment nyo. Okay guys, salamat sa time ninyo na kahit mag-12 na pero nandito pa rin kayo. So nagpapatunay lang talaga na gusto talaga natin lahat yumaman, tama, magbago ang buhay. Okay, okay lang na ano ba sa Tagalog? Okay lang na sa Bisaya pa magbilar kung sa ganitong oras, at least ang ano ba 'yon?
Magpuyat.
Magpuyat di oy.
Magpuyat.
Magpuyat. Okay lang na magpuyat. At least yung ginagawa natin ngayon para sa ikababago ng buhay. Kaysa nagpuyat tayo, pero yung ginagawa natin malayo sa, tama ba? Malayo sa mga gusto natin sa buhay. Okay lang,
Coach Man, okay lang magpuyat basta yung savings mo 2 to 3 years from now, ganito kalaki, di ba? Oh. Yes. 1 million US dollars.
Kana? Ganyan, di ba? Ulitin ko sa mga natumatin ngayon, okay lang na nagpuyat ka, naglaan ka ng oras, matagalan ka matulog. Tama ba? Kung natrabaho ka ba ngayon, pero nagbigay ka pa rin ng time na maka-attend sa training kahit may trabaho ka, okay lang yan. Kasi wala namang ibang mag-ano yan pagkatapos nito, ikaw pa rin. Tama ba? Ikaw pa rin yung magmamani. Bakit ikaw lang? Ako din, tama ba? Lahat, tayo. Tayo din yung magkakaroon ng magandang...
Kaka-iPhone ka.
Ayun. Ulitin ko, thank you pala. Tapos na po tayo.
Picture.
Sige, picture na, picture. Okay? Now, sino ba yung mag-ano? Sige, ikaw Kel.
Okay, mga gupo. 1, 2, 3. Ano ba? Ganyan. Or 1, 2, 3. Okay na po.
Okay, thank you. Tapos na po tayo. Guys, see you sa pag-apply bukas ha. Hindi lang na-expire ka ngayon. Apply mo agad bukas yung ano man yung naramdaman mo ngayon sa training kasi sayang. Pag hindi mo yan in-apply bukas, wala kang natutunan ngayon. Tama ba? Okay, so salamat. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Okay? God bless po. God bless. Good night.
Bye po. Bye-bye.